But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by Atlanta Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to install your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy safe in Georgia. So go to atlantasafehouse.com.
My name is Amy Risley. I have been working for Bruce Hagen for 17 years. When I first started, my boys were 4 and 6, and whenever I needed, Bruce allowed me to bring them to our office. Bruce has always treated us like family, and 17 years later, I still love coming to work for Bruce Hagen. Just recently, a friend told me they hear Bruce talking on 680 The Fan. They asked me if he was as nice as he appeared to be on air. I smiled, and without any hesitation, answered, he's even nicer in person. I'm Amy Risley. I work for Bruce Hagen. Let Bruce Hagen work for you. Hagen-law.com.
Tired of all the negative media manipulation? Wake up feeling right with a Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Download the Extra 106.3 app so you can listen live and on demand. It's so simple, and it is the best and most convenient way to listen. Get that free for Apple and Android by searching for XTRA 106.3 FM. Atlanta. You can also watch the show. It is streaming on YouTube, and we've had a couple new subscribers, I've noticed, which is cool, and then we've had most of our content blocked already. I'm not kidding. I mean, like, my email inbox is filling up from YouTube. Content block. It's mainly due to
the
copyright.
music.
Yep, that's exactly right. So they keep lighting us up over that. But I mean, look, we play good music. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not going to stop. So
there's this segment.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Turn it back up, man. They're going to flag us and block us even harder.
That's right.
I don't even think you can sing along. I don't think that covers it.
They haven't shut us down, though, right?
No,
people are still watching us because they can still see people, but this is what they'll do.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let's try this. Trump.
It'll be flagged like it is when you use your credit card for anything that the federal government doesn't.
Well, the funny thing is when I used to go to the Trump rallies, and stream them, of course, Lee Greenwood, even though, he gave permission to Trump to use it, anytime they heard that song, that was the way to stop you from being able to actually put that out there. Mm-hmm. So whenever I did them, as soon as the song came on, I turned off the sound because I knew they're not going to get me. And that's why everybody else, they just kind of get knocked off. So you have to really
just work backwards.
Yeah, you got to work
outsmart
backwards.
I get it. I want to tell you about a man that is still recovering 5 years later after his injuries, surgery, lost the use of his left arm, suffered a respiratory issue since the accident he had in 2019. He said, honestly, right now it feels like I'm in a worse place than when I first had these surgeries in 2019. How did this man get injured? He is actually suing the federal government for over $9 million after he crashed his snowmobile into a parked Black Hawk helicopter.
What?
Jeff Smith's lawyers says the military shouldn't have parked a well-camouflaged helicopter on a rarely used airstrip. Mm-hmm. Listen, this is the witness talking about the crash and what she saw.
Unfortunately, something horrible happened. I don't think it's anybody's fault. It's just one of those things. It's an accident for a reason.
Yeah, it's an accident for a reason. You're never going to win when you're suing the federal government. I mean, the weaponized DOJ, they're going to dismiss this before it gets going good.
They're going to rip his whole life apart, and next thing you know, he'll be like, "Hold on, I didn't even know I did that crime." This was a private air. Was he trespassing while snowmobiling?
Not that I'm aware of. Not according to NBC News. It doesn't list anything in the NBC News report.
So why would they park it in the middle of? If it's an airstrip,
Albert Farms Airfield in Worthington, Massachusetts. They apparently give permission to snowmobilers to use the trail and the Black Hawk crew to land in the same area. So he's already settled with the farm owner.
Okay, because the farm owner should be responsible because, hey, you better let people know or at least have a sign that, hey, warning, there's a Black Hawk helicopter here that parks.
I mean, how much is a Black Hawk helicopter? What does that cost? About $50 million? $500 million?
It's probably $50 million, but the government, because they have junk fees, probably pay $500
helicopter
million.
Cost.
How well camouflaged was this helicopter?
I mean,
It was highly camouflaged.
Like what?
I guess
white?
it blends in.
I mean, if it's a snow.
I mean, you do want it to blend in.
I mean, yeah, but it's got to be like they ran into it.
I know.
But wait, it's a snowmobile.
Right, so the
So it's got to be a white helicopter then?
No. But it blends into the rest of the woods. The woods are dark, and I mean it's camouflaged like the woods.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
so he's going through the woods trail.
Well, yeah, he's going on this farm. But so Black Hawks range in price from $15 million to upwards of $40 million.
Right.
So this dude, he's barreling down this trail. I've never been on a snowmobile, but they look fun. I think I would enjoy riding them like I enjoy riding four-wheelers and stuff. You're barreling down. Oh, a Black Hawk's in the way. You know. I mean, who would ever see that jumping out?
You're right.
A freaking Black Hawk helicopter, and when he goes out of the way to try to miss it, he clips the back part of the tail of the helicopter. And it causes, obviously immense damage to the Black Hawk.
I just feel like you'd see it with all the snow around because they don't paint it white.
No, but
I feel like you'd see it.
But the only thing is white's the ground. I mean, the trees are still dark colored.
But not if there's heavy snow. Like the snow, because I'm assuming there'd be pine trees, they get covered in white.
Yeah, but I feel like
you'd
camouflage.
Have to see it
you're still going to blend. Have you not seen Maverick? I mean, he blended in well when he was running from.
But they're not parking a helicopter in between like two small trees. Like it's got to be a big wide opening for them to land that thing in.
You do make a really good point. Yeah, and I didn't thought of that because I was thinking of blending it in.
I think this guy tried to jump the helicopter. I think he saw it out there and is like, and there's a little bit of a mogul. I might be able to jump this thing.
Not a helicopter. That'd be big to jump a helicopter.
I don't know. Evel Knievel could do it.
Helicopters are huge, man. Especially a Black Hawk. But I guess a U.S. District Court judge in Springfield is expected to rule on the suit later this year. 64-foot long aircraft. It was 64 feet long. I mean, that's how long it is. I mean, that's 14,500 pounds.
Come on, how do you not see that in the middle? Like, you didn't park that.
Look, here's a picture from NBC. It is in a wide open space.
It is, okay.
But if you're coming down...
I'm not missing that.
It'd be tough. And if you're coming down the hill, I guess it would blend in with the background.
Hold on. Joe is through a piece of glass 15 feet away from a small picture that you just showed him, and he saw it.
But he knows what to expect. I mean, the snowmobiler don't know that there's a helicopter sitting in the middle of the path.
I mean, I guess it does blend in with the background.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I could see that, but that is a weird. I don't know. I don't believe this guy. And in reality, taxpayers, we're going to end up paying $9 million to this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he can't see a Black Hawk in the middle of a field? Come on.
After an Army internal investigation showed pretty clearly that the crew knew they were landing right before or right after or even on top of an active snowmobile trail.
Oh, see, now we're okay, good. That's more evidence. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for introducing that evidence. We'll take that into account. Okay, so they knew that they were snowmobiling actively down there. They should have, yeah. So I understand why they're
a flashing sign or something.
Yeah, like
aircraft below on the trail. I don't know,
right.
Something.
I agree with you.
Yeah, they should have done something. The guy should have seen it. It's like two wrongs.
Yeah, right. Both people were in the wrong. But the only thing is, although
if it was snowing and he had goggles on, right, and it was a good snow, you wouldn't be able to see it.
And if you're a guy just riding on trails, let's say, because I grew up riding four-wheelers. So if I'm riding on four-wheeler trails in Cherokee County somewhere,
sure,
and I don't expect a helicopter to be there,
right?
That'd be the last thing you would expect. So, I guess you should see something. I'm not. It would
be the last thing you would expect. So you'd be like, "Holy crap! There's a helicopter there."
I think I'm with Joe on this.
Or you don't expect anything, and all of a sudden,
now I will give you another scenario. Now, if there's a snow bunny out there, like Erin's on the side, and I'm riding my four-wheeler,
girlfriend
Erin, beautiful girlfriend Erin, if I'm riding my snowmobile and I see the snow bunny, and I turn and look at her and smile as I'm like, hey, bam!
And then you run.
Then I hit the Black Hawk for sure.
Then you sue Erin.
That's right. She's an accessory.
Distraction.
There's no doubt I'm going to sue her for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you. It's just, it seems like a bad situation all the way around. And it seems like both parties are in the wrong. I don't know how you resolve this. That's the thing about court cases all the time, is that I can see typically both sides of the argument. Now, I agree a lot of times on one side more than the other, but I can typically see both sides of the story. And I don't know how this one works out. I don't see how
he's going to win.
See, I don't know, man.
They're going to settle. They'll settle for an amount, and he'll be like, yeah, I'll take that. I'd ask for the Black Hawk. I'd be like, you know what?
At least a ride in it.
Yeah. No, I want more than that. I want you to park it at my house from now on.
One of the crew members actually found the man face down in the snow after he hit the town. I mean, he's just face down, and he looks rough, dude. Look at this. This is the pictures of him. I know you can't see it listening right now, but this pictures. I mean, he's connected to all sorts of devices. This is Jeffrey Smith resting in the hospital.
Who took that picture? NBC News, right? They're going to make the most out of this.
Oh yeah,
because it's anti-military,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, he was airlifted. Funny enough, he hit a helicopter and then he was airlifted to the trauma center. A dozen broken bones. Actually, a dozen broken ribs, punctured lung, and severe internal bleeding. He was a mess, as it's reported. So we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. I find that story fascinating. A man drives a snowmobile into a Black Hawk helicopter and now is suing the federal government.
Everybody's like texting me, all the people listening, and they're like, you can see a chopper. Come on, you can see a Black Hawk. No one's missing a 66-foot Black Hawk in the middle of a white snowy field. It was the tail end he hit, right?
Yeah, well, because he finally sees it last minute.
Right,
and
that's what I'm thinking.
Changes directions and just clips the. That's exactly that's what he said.
It's got to be.
Is that he just like, smacks in. And can you imagine if he'd hit like the prop on the back?
I still think there's a snow bunny
his
involved.
Head off.
There's still a snow bunny involved.
No, I don't think there's been no story of that. There's been he didn't say anything. The Army didn't say. No one said anything. I mean, I understand why you'd want that to be the case.
Well, because a lot of people probably don't believe in snow bunnies, but I do, and they're real.
I thought that was just a good-looking woman.
It is.
Oh, well, then I definitely believe in good-looking women. Well, but that's got nothing to do with it actually being.
Would you look at a good-looking woman if you're riding your snowmobile? She's out there playing in the snow, throwing snow up over her head. Like,
this is all hypothetical because that's not part of the story. So I mean,
one of those good '80s ski movies, Ski Patrol.
Ashley Merchant testifies.
We've got to move.
She's in a flannel bikini.
We've got to move along. This is going nowhere fast. We had a great conversation. Now we're just spinning out of control like a helicopter that lost its the back prop or whatever, just spinning out of control. Ashley Merchant testifying in front of the Georgia State Senate. This is definitely, Rhino, going to affect what happens in this case because the evidence that she laid out, the testimony that she laid out, is pretty remarkable.
It really is. And you know what? I mean, this is a good opportunity, and I love what the GOP, the Georgia GOP has done here with this, Tug, because we're going to hear from Ashley Merchant asking questions. We're going to hear from Ashley Merchant as a lawyer in a courtroom. We're not going to hear from her the way we would in front of this Senate commission. And I think that's the important because nothing's holding her back at this point.
She can say what's on her mind.
She can say everything that's on her mind, everything she came across, and lay out exactly how she got to where she is now and what she has learned and discovered throughout this entire process. This is a woman who, again, yes, we broke this story, Tug. You know that, Ashley Merchant's not a Trump supporter. Right. So this is even more. This gives the opportunity because this story is going to be covered, whether they like it or not, by every national outlet. This also gives the opportunity for the Georgia GOP to come in there and then go ahead and subpoena Fani Willis to actually make her speak a little bit more. And again, she can lie and perjure herself all she wants. She'll probably, she'll do whatever she can to quash that. But I think it's huge that Ashley Merchant went and testified in front of the Senate.
No, me too. And I'm glad that she did. This is exactly what we wanted. But and to your point about there not being the restrictions of the judge or the court, this is just her laying out all the evidence that we know she has, the evidence that in a forum that everybody can hear it in plain language. I think that's the big key too, plain language, because a lot of times when we watched it the day it all came down and Ashley's cross-examining, she's asking questions of Terrence Bradley. The judge was like, nope, you can't say that. Objection, there, there. And sometimes it's a little hard to follow. And that was the beauty of Sarah Hobson, of Hobson & Hobson, coming in and breaking it all down and helping us in plain language understand it. So I think that is the value, the plain language, and not the interruptions. So people can go, oh, okay, I see what's happening now. I see why she says that the things happened well before they said they happened, meaning the relationship. It was going on in 2019, even though they said it wasn't on the stand, and there was no way to challenge them on that. Here, everything can be challenged.
Yeah, everything can be challenged, but again, this is what's great about it, and I think more people will pay attention to it. And to kind of prove that point was when I retweeted out yesterday from like Conservative Daily, and I forgot who the group was, that said, breaking news. Ashley Merchant just said that Fonnie Willis was at the White House and that there were phone calls and they're this. Well, guess what? They didn't know about that. We were talking about it a week and a half before they were. So more information is getting out there to more sources. So the fact that they thought that was breaking just kind of shows that why this is so brilliant to get Ashley Merchant in front, because more people are paying attention now. And this will get it out there. And Fonnie's motion, to squash all this has already been thrown out. Now she's in the middle of this. She doesn't know what to do. She files another motion. This is a big problem for Democrats, and this is a huge problem for Fonnie.
Indeed it is. We'll leave it there. This is the Morning Extra. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10 when we come back on Extra 106.3. The U.S. is pushing back against the UN ceasefire until at least this one demand is met. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Get the app. It's the best way to listen.
If you love news and talk, you have to connect with the biggest personalities in the South at thepodcastpark.com. It's more original Atlanta content from Atlanta's hometown talk crew. From legal news to sports and politics, and even archives of interviews from years past. Find the podcast that you love and subscribe everywhere you get podcasts.
My wife and I were taking a walk with our little dog Cash last night, and we get back to the house and we just look at it, and we love it. The trees are blooming. We love our home. It's too big, and we can't afford to downsize. So what do? You make sure that it is as perfect as it can be. So you love it. And we do. We love our home. But the one thing we couldn't help but notice when we walked up, beautiful trees blooming. There's some cherry blossoms blooming. Glance at the house, and it needs to be painted. It just needs to be painted. We've owned it for 10 years, and I don't know when they painted it prior to that. It was not part of the negotiation. We didn't talk about it. So I don't know. Maybe it hadn't been painted in 20 years. And our house is about 30 years old. So Southern Exteriors, they're coming by the house to give us an estimate. That way we can go and move forward. And our house is just as beautiful as we hope that it would be and that we want it to be. If you're in that same situation where you just see your house is so perfect for you, maybe too big like ours, but otherwise perfect, and you can make it look beautiful, you can make it look like a castle, you can get it exactly the way you want it, these guys will give you a hand. It doesn't matter if it's just painting like for us, because we already have new gutters, we already have new windows, we did this over the last few years, but I wish I would have known Southern Exteriors prior to doing some of those things. That way we would have gotten a better deal, and it would have been a better product. Southern Exteriors, they don't make you wait. As soon as they come out, they can get you in. Call them 877-9-SOUTHERN, 877-9-SOUTHERN, or southernexteriors.co, not .com, southernexteriors.co.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
Don't miss the Atlanta Mushroom Festival, Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day at Park Tavern in Piedmont Park. Beginning at 12 p.m. and ending at 7 p.m., this dog and family-friendly event features educational speakers, live music, and over 35 mushroom-themed vendors. Tickets are free with email registration or $10 for Comfort VIP, which directly supports the nonprofit festival. For more information, visit AtlantaMushroomFestival.com or Atlanta Mushroom Festival on all social platforms.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. We handle bonds throughout Metro Atlanta, including from our newest offices in Cherokee County and Clayton County. In most cases, we can have you or your loved one out of jail in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
Hi, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Seniors Helping Seniors.
Thanks, Tara. I'm Terry, owner of Seniors Helping Seniors. After losing my father, my husband and I wanted to take our experience and help others in the community. Our mission is to create meaningful connections while fulfilling the needs of our caregivers, clients, and their families. Seniors Helping Seniors helps less active seniors stay independent, allowing them to live the life the way they want to in the comfort of their own homes. We offer companionship and socialization, light housekeeping, meal preparation, transportation, doctor's appointments, dementia care, relief for the family caregiver, and more.
We hire active, mature adults who have a better understanding of the aging process. It's like getting a little help from a friend. Please check us out at shsnorthwestatlanta.com.
What a tremendous opportunity that fills a need so many of us can relate to. Friends, reach out. And remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
Love having a true conservative news and talk station in Atlanta? Then spread the word. Tell your family and friends to download the Extra 106.3 app and stream the Morning Extra, the Kimmer Show, and Atlanta's biggest lineup of conservative voices.
Tug Rhino in front office, Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Download the app so you can listen live and on demand. Stream us at Extra 106.3 on our YouTube channel. You can find us there, easy to do. And it's just there's just so many ways to interact with the show and the station. Please do that, and we appreciate you for reaching out. 404-741-1230 across social media at Extra 106.3, interacting on the YouTube channel. I see you over there typing out some messages.
Well, I typed out a message to just say, hey, Tug and I would love to hear from you. What did you think of the State of the Union? What did you think of Katie Britt's rebuttal? Because I'd love to hear a lot of people today, and they're different. There's so many differing opinions on our side about what you thought of both. Well, I think we all thought the same thing about the State of the Union.
Yeah. Katie Britt was, I don't know, she came off as super breathy and like she was scared to death. And I guess
I think you would be,
it's
right?
a big task, yeah, I guess. But if you're not ready for it, then say no. I don't want to do it. I can't do it. You know, she was like, there was just a lot of heavy breathing. It was weird and awkward. I think what she said was great. I don't disagree with anything she said. It was just the delivery wasn't what I'd hoped it would be.
I couldn't tell if she was nervous or was she that emotional and angry about what was just said in front of her, and that's where I kept getting confused. And she kind of reminded me of like a mom who got a TikTok account and was mad at Biden and decided to get on there at the kitchen table
and the school
and just go, well, listen to me. I'm so like, and I was like, huh. But her message was right.
Yeah, message
was right on, and she delivered it really well. Like, not any stammers. Like, she seemed to be in control of it. It just came off like a Lifetime channel movie.
It was very breathy.
Yeah.
That's what I kept hearing.
Yeah.
It was just breathy.
Like it was acting more than it was just
seemed
being.
Like that, yes.
Yeah.
It did have that. I think you.
She went to drama school or something?
Something. You described it well. So did Joe Virgin River, man. He and Katie Britt would be thick as thieves.
Yeah.
But it came off as like a TikTok presentation. It didn't come off as, I don't know, presidential is not the right word, but that's kind of what I'm going for. You know, it's just not official or something.
But
it just lacked something.
She did really. There was one, like, I wanted the reason for her there, obviously, is to bring in women, mothers, children, like mothers, women who feel like, hey, we've lost control of the education of our children. They're not allowed. So it was definitely a pitch to the white suburban woman. And yes, she comes off that way. She's raising her children. Like, I got what they were trying to do, but then it seemed like, oh, but she's an actress.
Yeah, it just fell a little flat.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
she's got a lot. I think she has a really good future for the people.
Absolutely.
And she came off as a mom to me, too.
Yeah, she did. For sure she
did. I think it might have worked in a way, but I think everybody at that point, Biden bored us and lied to us and made us so angry that I think a lot of people were just like, hey, Katie, great job, thanks. We already know.
I don't know how many people stuck around for it.
No, I don't think so.
To be honest. I mean, it was already late. Here's just a little bit of it. Listen to this.
Like so many families across America, my husband Wesley and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it.
See what I mean?
President Biden. We know that President
Biden
just doesn't get it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like she's got her phone set up on the kitchen table, and she's like,
you got one of those little circle lights, those little circle lights that those social media influencers use, whatever that is.
Like, I'm waiting for her to go, like, so here's my daughter in the background. This is what I deal with every day.
Yeah, she's
but it was more like, so me and Trevor, we just watched the State of the Union, and I'm so upset, and Biden made me so mad.
That's what it came off as.
I haven't even been able to get milk and eggs. Like, it just came. But you know what? I mean, it did come off as a mom. It did come off as a wife. It did come off about somebody who cares about her life in this country.
If you listen to it long enough, she did. But if you listen to the first 30 seconds, you're like, oh, what? Oh.
She was definitely nervous in that first 30.
Absolutely. But I don't think it changed. I don't think the nervousness went away. That never subsided for her that I could tell.
No.
But anyway.
She got a little bit better towards the end.
Yeah,
would love to hear from you guys, too.
404-741-1230, whether you're streaming us on the Extra 106.3 app, streaming at extra1063.com. If you're at 106.3, 1230 a.m., wherever you are, 404-741-1230. The Biden administration announces that the United States is going to build a pier on the Gaza shore for large-scale aid delivery. So let me get this straight. We're going to build a makeshift pier. We're going to have the Navy SEALs, the Navy Seabees out there. The Navy SEALs probably out there trying to protect them. We're going to attach a makeshift pier that we're building to Hamas-ran territory, where Hamas, a terrorist organization, is the government, loose government, the people that make the decisions for this part of the world. What could go wrong?
Everything.
I mean, it seems like a great plan, well thought out. I bet the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense put their heads together and they're like, this is a great plan. And then Lloyd Austin went off to the hospital and never thought about it again.
They're spending money. They're like, hey, we got to. The funny thing about the Pentagon is, look, I respect our military, our members, more than anything else in the world. But they're being used by people like the Pentagon and all these, generals with all the pins on that have never actually put on boots.
But they're supposed to be used by that. Right.
But what they're using them for is, hey, we got to spend money to keep the budget going so that we can spend more money on things that might not help our soldiers and the VA. Because the more he talked about the VA yesterday and all this, but this, more than anything else, Tug, I was sitting with two veterans last night when they heard him talk about this, and the first thing they said was, so you're saying you're not going to put American soldiers in harm's way, but you're going to have the military build and defend a port, but you say by foot on the ground, but foot on a boat, foot on the sea. They're still vulnerable. You're still putting our soldiers there. It doesn't send the right message.
It's a terrorist-ran area. So you're going to attach a pier to terrorist-controlled territory, property, whatever you want to call it. Everybody that's there is in danger. There's no way to say they're not in danger. They're in danger completely. This temporary pier, they say, would enable massive increases in the amounts of humanitarian assistance that gets into Gaza every day, that is immediately given to Hamas or taken by Hamas. There's not a Palestinian one that's going to see this stuff.
I think Iran has $6 billion for humanitarian relief. Iran is the one who is also...
Great point.
Yeah. Iran is also the one who is backing the Houthis. Right. They're backing the Houthis that are attacking ships that they're now building this port to get the aid to. So this is your problem, Iran. You're the one that are pulling the strings, that are funding these. Why don't you say, hey, terrorists, why don't you go to the ones that are funding your terror and say, hey, we also want humanitarian aid? Because if there's one thing I've seen, and we're going to hear all the lies about Israel's attacking these, when we know who it is, it's Hamas. One thing I know is you think those same terrorists are not going to go to that port and cause trouble, and that American soldiers are going to be on the boats and sitting there, and we're not going to have what we had when they dropped the truck there, where people were rushing the truck. Some of them were Hamas people. Some of them were carrying guns. Some of them were pointing them at Israeli soldiers. You don't think that the same thing's going to happen to our American soldiers there?
Yeah.
They're terrorists.
There's going to be nothing good come of this.
No.
Even if not one soldier, sailor, or Marine is injured, nothing is going to come good come of this. All of the humanitarian aid will be taken by terrorists and not given to a single person that needs it. This is a awful plan. Like, I can't even imagine who came up with this idea and said, I got y'all listen to this. I know I ain't come up with anything lately. However, today, that changes. We're going to build a makeshift pier on a terrorist coast, and we're going to unload cargo. The terrorists were going to be friendly to us. They're not going to shoot and kill us as we do this. And then they won't take the cargo that we unload, the humanitarian aid, and just take it and keep it for themselves. They're going to distribute it nicely to people. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
Oh, and everybody at the table's like, oh, my God, you got something.
This is a great idea.
You're onto something.
This will bring peace.
Yes.
Those people are peaceful.
They're going to love us.
Oh, they love us.
This is a breakthrough.
This isn't a holy war. They just need some aid and us to be there to watch them and make sure everything's good.
Holy war? Hell you talking
about?
What
are you talking about?
War? This is
all they want is to see American soldiers right on the side of their land.
They're going to be so happy with us.
Hi.
They're going to start wearing American flag pins on their military uniforms or their terrorist uniforms or whatever.
Look, I think they have a T-shirt gun.
Yes.
They're going to shoot T-shirts saying thank you.
All right. Last night was like the dark speech from Philly, minus the red ominous lights in the Marines. We'll talk about it next after a Fox News update. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
No, that's not it. No, he was the killer in... he was the killer.
Here we go again. Oh, my God. The Last Boy Scout.
No. He was the killer.
Godfather.
It was a movie with that girl who had the car.
Good ship lollipop. Yeah, the guy with the face.
There was a story of the old-fashioned sheriff, the old country sheriff, and he was out on a horseback, and he found a murder scene, and then he talked to his old country sheriff, and he makes a pot of coffee
That's
every couple
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. And that killer there looks like Javier Bardem as a lookalike, and people confuse him.
You know why he looks like Javier Bardem?
Why?
Because he is Javier Bardem.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Jim Niarchos here with exciting news. The All Four Seasons Home Show returns to Atlanta Radio this Saturday morning at 9, bringing you advice and tips from some of Georgia's top business owners. Join Dan Watkins and myself when we will be helping you make smarter purchases, save money, and keep from getting ripped off. That's the All Four Seasons Home Show every Saturday morning at 9, right here on Extra 106.3.
Horizon Background Screening is a fully licensed and insured private investigations firm that focuses on litigation support for law firms, criminal defense cases, and background investigations. We are also FCRA compliant and process pre-employment background checks, tenant screening, and background checks for volunteer organizations. Whether your business is a law firm needing anything from scene investigations to witness interviews, or a company that requires pre-employment background checks, we have the experience you need. Visit horizonscreening.com to learn more. That's horizonscreening.com.
Hey fans, Xander from Atlanta Painting Company here, and with spring on the horizon, the home team won't be the only ones painting corners in Atlanta. This spring, save 10% off all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is, to protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we are the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company. Painters you can trust.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPsETC.com.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's a camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
To make a good, sound, logical, reasonable choice in this election, you have to look past the next 4 years. Whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump, it's going to be a train wreck. You have to look past it at what Republicans might be able to do in the next election, what Democrats might be able to do, because I guarantee you it's not going to be two 80-year-olds running against each other again.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app. Start your day the right way with Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra every morning from 6 to 10 a.m. on WFOM Marietta Extra 106.3.
He says the State of the Union is strong. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and President Biden told us last night,
when America gets knocked down, we get back up.
And on the biggest issue for many Republicans,
we can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it.
And the president brought up Laken Riley's name.
An innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals?
Telling her parents, as someone who's lost children, he knows what they're going through. The president also often took aim at his likely rematch rival, but not by name.
My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
Fox's Madeline Rivera reports.
His tone defiant as he tries to quell voters' concerns about his age, mental acuity, and whether he has what it takes to run the country for another 4 years. While Democrats praised his energy, Republicans say his speech was partisan and divisive. Former President Trump saying he was angry, mentally disturbed, and misrepresenting a lot of the facts concerning almost every subject he discussed.
Joe Biden is on the run from his record and lying like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created.
At times, the president was cheered by Democrats, booed by Republicans, even heckled by an angry dad in the gallery who was removed.
U.S. Capitol Police say they arrested 51-year-old Stephen Nakui. He's a Gold Star father. His son is Kareem Nakui, who was killed during the administration's botched withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Fox's Chad Pergram. 13 American troops were killed in that 2021 suicide bombing. Back to the president. Despite a majority of Americans disapproving of his handling of the economy, he touted
15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record.
This morning, we'll get the February hiring report that is expected to show 200,000 new jobs and the unemployment rate remaining 3.7%. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, a lot of you know that I learned how to use a firearm when I was 11 years old. I've been practicing my entire life, and people ask me all the time, Hannity, what kind of gun should I get? Well, now I'm telling them, go to Henry Repeating Arms. And I always tell them to start just by going to their website, henryusa.com. You're going to get a free catalog. Now, Henry has over 200 models of rifles and shotguns to choose from. They're made with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen, and you don't beat their performance. Every one I had was accurate right out of the box and reliable ever since. Their company motto is made in America or not made at all. They have a lifetime warranty. family-owned business, and these folks are true patriots who give back to our military, our vets, our first responders, sick kids, you name it. They support gun safety, and they support our Second Amendment. So if you're in the market for a high-quality, American-made firearm, just go to henryusa.com. You get their free catalog, list of dealers, and free decals, henryusa.com. You'll love this company.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Extra 106.3.
Tuck, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Friday, thank God it's Friday. But let me tell you, next Monday is going to be a difficult day. A difficult day for you, for me.
I'm scared.
For Rhino, for Los, Board Op, Joe Virgin River, and you listening right now. It's going to be difficult for all of us because you know how we're tired when we get up? Because we get up early. We're going to even be more tired because we spring forward. We're losing an hour of sleep. Sunday morning.
So dumb.
Daylight savings time. That's right. Or summertime. It's the practice of advancing clocks forward to...
All right, Biden, what?
Clocks, advancing clocks. Well, I told you I was already tired. But I'm not the president. I mean, you don't expect much out of me.
The funny part is I think the State of the Union is supposed to pump us up for the future, and like now we're just like even more tired and
Yeah. Advancing clocks forward to make better use of longer daylight hours during the summer so that darkness falls later. At the, and you have longer days. Remember when I used to get yelled at by a former coworker. Even if the day's not longer. I'm like, I know it's not adding to but the daytime, it's longer.
Yeah, there was no arguing that point at all during that. But I understand what you're saying. I get it. You know what? I'm happy the summer's coming. Very happy the summer. I'm ready for the war. Yesterday was one of those days where you're like, oh, it's here. It's almost like I felt like Puxatawny Phil.
I know.
I was like, there it is. Hey, guys, everybody, spring's coming.
I can't stand spring. I can't. It's my least favorite season.
Shut up.
You know why?
Shut your awful mouth.
I love Georgia. It's the best state in the union. But instead of snow, we get this lovely yellow pollen that covers everything and makes me sneeze for 3 months.
You sound like Katie Britt over here. I love Georgia. I love that. Shh. Spring is the best part.
Pollen don't bother me at all.
I love spring.
Even a little bit.
It's my favorite.
Now, my wife, her face, she would be sneezing. She'll be doing it.
I've seen your car. You're not going to wash it anyway, Joe. What do you care?
You got a good point.
It's still got the stuff from last year on it. The pollen.
Yeah, you know when it gets
stuck to the sides.
Yeah, when it gets all wet and it stays underneath by the windshield wipers.
Tint.
Yeah. He's got pine straw, he's got leaves and pollen underneath his windshield.
Where do you live?
I've got a forest? Blue car and it's now green.
Freaking his neighbor Smokey Bear.
Yeah.
He's out in the woods somewhere with all that stuff.
I'm excited. We went to Big Door Vineyards up there in...
What?
Yeah, Carter's. It's wonderful.
I don't know about this. What is this?
Oh, really? It's a nice little... Oh, you have to take Laura one day.
My daddy was born and raised in Cartersville.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little vineyard. Ray, the owner, they were all there yesterday. They were going down, spraying the fields, working on everything. And it was just such a beautiful day. And beautiful Aaron and I got a charcuterie board. And we got a bottle of wine, and we sat out there in the sun.
I'm not frou-frou at all. When it comes to life, I'm not frou-frou at all. But you throw some cheese and meat on a plate or a board.
It's so great.
Put some crackers all around it.
Right.
And damn if they put pimento cheese on it. That's the greatest day of my life.
I'm telling you.
I love it.
At first you look and you go, I just paid $25 for this thing. And then by the time you're almost done and you're just like, wow, this was really filling, and it was so good.
I love it. And what's the name of the place again?
Big Door.
Big Door Winery.
Big Door Winery.
Okay, I'm going to look that up.
Big Door Vineyards, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. What a great, and they're so nice, and it's so beautiful, and they've got a beautiful inside, and their wine is amazing. That might be why I have the headache, but we only drank like a bottle between us. So
that's two glasses each.
It's like 2 glasses each, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't think I react well with wine.
Well,
I do love the flavors. I do love what they do with it, but
I don't know what it is in there, and somebody that's smarter than I am can call us at 404-741-1230 and tell me. But there's something in the wine. Is it like phosphates?
It's called tannins.
Tannins, yes.
And I would have never guessed tannins.
That's what gives you the headache.
Okay, so some wines have more than others.
Yeah.
Right? And,
reds have more than whites.
And see, and I don't really like white wine. I only like red wine. And when that happens, I'm always surprised because I'm like, well, last time I drank wine, I didn't have a headache.
No.
And now all of a sudden this one got more tannins in there, and my head feels like it's been run over by a car.
Yeah. That's what I feel like right now. Like my brain is going to pop out of the top of my head at any moment.
But
I always stick on the ceiling.
I was trying to reason with myself, trying to figure out why it all happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, but I don't remember drinking more than I normally do, which is a lot. But I'm just saying, it's not more than normal. And yet, it's the tannins the whole time.
Yeah.
Those damn tannins.
Yeah.
I hate them.
But it is, look, I love wine. I do.
Me too.
And the funny part was Ray came up to me and he squeezed my arm and he's like, man, good and solid. I'm like, I'm getting fat.
Exactly. But is he an older man?
He's in way better shape than I am. He's older than me.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but I don't know, 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've told y'all before, my mama and my Brown, because she wouldn't let me call her grandma. She said she was too young to be a grandma, so we called her Brown or Ma Brown. That was my mama's mama. And she would, if you looked skinny, they were like, you don't look healthy.
Right.
You need to eat. You need to eat something. So, my mama would love you. She would be like, yes, Rhino, you feel solid.
Yeah.
If you lost any weight, she would notice immediately and try to feed you some sort of gravy and biscuits, something with some heavy cream to bulk you up a little bit.
But up here, it's not. I'm very muscular up here. And I'm like, yeah, that's solid. But feel my belly now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Ray's 68.
60. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. But that generation, they see weight as a good thing.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think he was looking at me like, hey, why don't you go out there and work the fields? I think that's what he was trying to figure out.
Maybe when you get off at 10 o'clock, you drive to Cartersville and you work the vineyards.
Man, that would be fun.
I mean, you got that. You got a little Italian in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it seems like, it's not, it's different, obviously, but it's the same concept.
Sure.
I think it's a good idea. All right.
I'm going to have to ask Ray next time.
State of the Union last night. Gold Star dad arrested for interrupting. I'm not going to get spun up like I did last hour talking about it because I started screaming and shouting, and I apologize to both of you for that because I don't think I've been that angry ever on this show. I've never been that.
No, you have not
on this show.
You banged that table. I was like,
I know my hand is still sore from banging the table.
But that was passion because you know what? I mean, our soldiers, when we look at what's happening, because when he talked about the VA, when he talked about Big Pharma, let me tell you what drove me nuts. We attack Big Pharma. No, you don't. What you do is you hire Big Pharma to just brush off our VA, or our veterans. When they go to the VA, the first thing they do is give you 2 pill bottles before they even ask you to see a doctor. Yeah. You are giving money to Big Pharma in record numbers. You actually energize it. Instead of listening to our veterans, instead of talking to them, instead of figuring out what help they really need, you give them drugs. That kind of thing really makes me angry.
As it should.
And you, as a veteran, have every right to get angry and every right to be upset when this man caused the death of 13 soldiers on one day and then 3 soldiers again. We see it every single day. I think you have every right to be upset about that.
I just don't understand why every person that was shouting in the chamber wasn't arrested as well.
Right.
Why? They're all citizens of the United States. That man is a citizen of the United States. His son died defending the United States. If anybody had any place to scream and shout and protest inside the chamber last night, it was Steve Nakui. Mm-hmm. It was him because his son died in defense of this country. The rest of them have not done anything that I can tell. Even the people that I like Speaker Johnson just fine. What has he done? What has he done to sacrifice for this country?
No.
Nothing that I can tell. He ran a campaign. He was elected. Good. I like him. Great.
Sure.
What has he done? He, was up there. Marjorie Taylor Greene, as much as I like her, she's from Rome, Georgia. She represents the district that I was born and raised in. What has she done to sacrifice for this country? She shouted out, "Say your name! Say your name!" She was wearing Trump Make America Great Again hat. She looked like a walking Trump billboard for his reelection.
Yeah.
What? Was she arrested and taken out? Nope. What about the Democrats that were shouting, 4 more years? That was an interruption?
Yep.
Why weren't they arrested? That's the thing. The one person that did not deserve to be arrested, that should not have been arrested, was Steve. And he was the only one that was.
The only one that, if there's nothing that tells you we're a banana republic, the one person that got arrested was a citizen whose son and him and his family made the ultimate sacrifice for this country. He's the one that got arrested. If that doesn't tell you about the way they want to treat the American citizens, if that doesn't energize you to say, yeah, they're right, not only Donald Trump, but all of us, someone who's conservative, someone who speaks out against what you did policy-wise, was ripped out of this State of the Union and arrested.
Al's in Sandy Springs at 404-741-1230. What's on your mind, buddy? What did you think?
Hey, first of all, Tug, don't apologize for the emotion. In my opinion, that's one of the best segments you guys have ever had since you've been on the radio, since I've been listening. I could only stomach a little bit of the debate, or not the debate, but the presidential pep rally last night. I'm going to call it.
Yes, the pep rally. Yeah, that's what it was.
You guys may not be old enough to remember, but back, I believe the year was 2002, the Paul Wellstone Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
They turned Paul Wellstone was a senator, I believe, from Minnesota, who was killed in a plane crash, and they turned that memorial into a pep rally for the Democrats. That did not go over well with the public. What I saw of that last night gave me a lot of the same feel. I'm not sure what the Democrats did last night with their pep rally is going to go over well with the public, because the public's suffering, and their pep rally made it sound like they are completely tone deaf of that.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I felt the whole thing was tone deaf, for sure.
Totally. It came off as hyper-partisan. We had heard, the mainstream outlets were talking about how he's going to come out, show he has all this energy, show that he can unify the country, show that he can do the things that everybody is questioning that he has the ability to do. I didn't see any of that. Did I see him pumped up and like he was on speed? Because that's what Bo Snerdley said.
Yes.
The former producer for Rush Limbaugh. Yeah. He looks like he's on speed.
He on speed.
It was a great tweet.
So great.
It's so good. So, and Ari Fleischer said someone at the White House worried Biden was too old, told him to demonstrate energy. But this isn't how you do it. The speed Biden is delivering the speech is too amped. It's not normal. It's not natural. It's poor, weird delivery. It's a mistake. Ari Fleischer said that, and I think he's right.
He's 100% right. It's one of the things I thought, too, while watching this was most presidents, they deliver something, okay, and let's just say it's, I am going to cut taxes, whatever, boom, let the applause happen, you wait, and you go back in. He was rushing through because he couldn't stop. Because it almost seemed like
he was on Adderall.
He was on Adderall.
It was just like
But
nonstop.
I think they told him, hey, it's going to run out. You need to deliver it. Don't give long pauses. Just keep going. Stay on track. Keep going. Because you saw as soon as, and it was later in the State of the Union, as soon as somebody questioned him, and it happened to start with Marjorie Taylor Greene and others in the audience that were, on the Republican side, especially when he lied, and he turned, he goes, oh, you don't agree? Oh, you do? That's where the stammering, that's where he got off track, and that's where they probably didn't want him to go. And it became that point where you realized he was doing fine when he was all just staying in line, ignoring the applause, just continuing down, because he switched topics real quick. He'd just talk about this, Ukraine, right to women, abortion,
all emotional stuff,
trans stuff, this, that, and then we'll get to the economy and border later. But we got to bash Jan 6. I mean, how quick did Jan 6 come up,
buddy?
We almost laughed,
dude. It wasn't like 40 seconds in.
It was Ukraine. Jan 6.
Yeah, it was so stinking quick. It was unbelievable. Do we have that cut? If we don't, we'll get it later. But another thing that I saw. And this was, probably about 9:45, 9:50, 10 o'clock, somewhere around there. The camera pans around at the State of the Union in the House chamber, and Bernie Sanders is sitting there with a mask on.
It was the first thing I said. Look at this fool with a mask.
What are you doing?
Stay home, dum-dum.
It's so simple. I have no clue. I don't remember seeing another fool in there with a mask on. The CDC has already told you masks don't work. I mean, we were telling you. Trump was telling you. Anybody that follows the science was telling you 3 years ago that it wasn't working and the shots weren't working. Everybody had told you that. And yet, Bernie Sanders sitting in the chamber all with his glasses on and his mask tucked up right under.
So uncomfortable looking.
I just I've never seen anything like it. That is a cult. That is a freaking cult, dude.
Oh, yes.
And remember how
it's a religion.
No,
for
it
them,
is.
So, yes.
Yeah, well, cult religion.
Into a cult.
Yeah. You had the story, I think, on Wednesday where people were so angry at the CDC and the Democrats for taking away it's almost like they took their religion away from them. You can't practice this anymore. But when they said that you should treat COVID kind of like a cold or the flu, which Donald Trump had already told you that 3 years ago. However, the CDC, the people that have the command of the science, finally came around and said it, and those people were angry. Bernie, he's not giving in.
No, look, give Bernie credit, though. He's sticking to his he's like the archdiocese of delusion and COVID. Everybody looks up to him. That's it. Their religious leader. He said up there. And the funny part is, hey, Bernie, it's not even an N95. It's one of those blue masks that you get.
That he's had in the cup holder in his car for 6 months, if not 6 years.
No, he's got those. He's got 6 of them in the plastic wrap, just slid in his suit jacket.
Not a chance.
In his suit jacket, just in
Rhino,
case.
You're wrong.
You think he just has that one?
He's got the one because they're not smart enough. They reuse them. It's what everybody did. It's when I was forced to wear them to go to damn Costco.
Yeah.
I used the same one over and over and over again too. Exactly what Bernie did. It might have been in his coat pocket.
You're right.
It might have been in his coat pocket. There's not a chance that's a new one.
I don't know, because mine got I had a blue one that I never wore, but I put it in my cup holder where I spilt coffee and soda, so it had a little brown in it and all that.
And maybe
shake it off and be like, God, I got to put this on real quick.
A rogue French fry that fell out as you're eating, driving down the road, and it lands on top of it. You got to dig that out. But Bernie, he's up. He's carrying the torch.
He didn't stop.
We just had a caller, Dallas, tell us that he didn't have it on during the pre-show. He did it when it started.
Yes.
Oh my God! Is that true?
Yes.
Do we know that's true?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When I was watching Fox News, they did the little spin around of who's here and this and that and the other. And when they spun around, you saw Bernie. He didn't have the mask on.
See, I missed all that.
While he's shaking hands, walking around, trying to get to Biden. Bernie Sanders sits and says, everybody pay your fair share. The millionaire has tons of money. Buy a new mask, bro.
Buy a new mask, bro. That's a T-shirt.
Buy a new mask, bro.
Buy a new mask, bro. When we come back on Extra 106.3, we'll hit the headlines. You remember your permanent record in high school? The feds are bringing it back, but this record could be damaging. Next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Tug, Rhino, Front Office Los. Here on Extra 106.3, we're on the air until 10. We hope that you'll download the Extra 106.3 app and listen that way. It's the most convenient because you listen live and on demand. You can listen to all the shows that are in the incredible lineup here on Extra 106.3 and stream us. You can interact, watch the show on our YouTube channel. We are streaming there at Extra 106.3 too. So you can interact too. There's a way to, the chat. And Rhino is sitting there close, waving at you right now. As a matter of fact, he's even answering questions because he's over there next to the computer. Anyway, we'll be right back. This is Extra 106.3.
Atlanta radio legends collide on Extra 106.3. The legend Neil Bortz is live every week with Atlanta legend The Kimmer. Because when you get these two guys together, who knows where we'll end up?
I am shocked. Well, not that shocked.
The Kimmer is live on your drive home every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6. And now Neil Bortz joins the show every week. And if you miss it, catch up anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Hey, it's Tug. I am encouraging you right now to not fall for this fake spring that we have. We still have a last blast of summer. It's coming. If you've not lived in Georgia your whole life, you may not know this. You see today's going to be, 65 degrees, a little bit of a chance of rain this afternoon. However, it is not going to last. There will be that one cold surge. It's the way it always works. Make sure your home is prepared. How do you do that? Call Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Your HVAC unit, it's so important that you have a maintenance agreement. It's so important that Central comes out and tunes that thing up for winter and for summer, because those are the times that it works the hardest. I just had Seth come out to my house. He did that for us. And the nicest guy ever, because they only employ like the greatest folks at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. When you hire them, you'll see what I mean. But don't fall for the false spring. I know the trees are budding. The cherry trees in our front yard are budding too. I was like, we must be a couple weeks away from that. My wife's like, no, next week. And then we were walking last night, and they're already budding. We were both off. She was much closer than I. Point is, there's a cold snap. It always happens. So get the maintenance agreement today. Call them Central Heating and Air Conditioning, 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com. But look, if it's too far gone and you need a full system, they can accommodate that too. They've been serving Atlanta since 1947. Over 70 years. Call Central Heating and Air Conditioning. They can take care of whatever you need done with your HVAC. Tell them Tug sent you.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in every Saturday at 10 a.m. or find it online at thepodcastpark.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Hey fans, Xander from Atlanta Painting Company here, and with spring on the horizon, the home team won't be the only ones painting corners in Atlanta. This spring, save 10% off all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is to protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we are the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company. Painters you can trust.
Fox on Tech.
You've made phone calls and FaceTime calls and Zoom calls, but have you made X calls yet? Elon Musk's X social media app, the one we used to call Twitter, now gives users the ability to make voice and video calls to each other, just like you might in apps such as Meta's Messenger and WhatsApp, or Signal or Telegram. But unlike Signal and WhatsApp, X calls don't seem to be end-to-end encrypted, and what's more, users engaged in a call can see each other's IP addresses by default. This might bother some users who worry about security and privacy. The other thing about X calls that might bother users is that turning those features off or selecting enhanced privacy modes is a bit of an effort. They're located in Settings under Privacy and Safety Direct Messages. X calls so far can only be done via smartphone apps and not in your web browsers. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Support conservative conversation on the radio in Atlanta by emailing us at sales@xtra1063.com.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Xtra. We're on the air until 10. Glad that you're here. 404-741-1230 at Xtra 1063 across all the social media platforms. There is a new study that shows if you want to be rich, you need to meet rich friends. And the best place to do that is at Applebee's. Applebee's. There we go. Walker Hayes. So the restaurant tends to have a great mix of rich, middle income, and lower income people. So it's just a great mix of people that go to Applebee's, which I would have never guessed.
It's the neighborhood grill.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
This is according to MIT, though. This is not some just like schlubs that are just, at some community college putting this study together. MIT's saying that.
Yeah, I mean, they celebrate the community. Look, a lot of them put up like football coaches from the high school. I think we should get the Applebee's here to put up our pictures and stuff. Yeah. We're part of this community.
Well, yeah. No, I agree with you.
I doubt that'll ever happen.
But yeah, no, it's probably not. But I can't tell you the last time I went to an Applebee's.
Neither can I.
I mean, the only thing I know, obviously, the Walker Hayes song, and I remember the I want my baby back, baby. You know what I mean? I remember that ad campaign, which was great. But I don't even know where an Applebee's is.
There's one right here, right off Cobb Parkway.
Yeah.
I went to it a couple years ago because they have really cheap margaritas.
Yes, that's the bar. That's why you go. The bar is the only reason I'd go to Applebee's. I don't remember the last time I've been to an Applebee's. It's not like, I don't want to be mean to Applebee's. It's just not my favorite place to eat.
I don't think any of those, that like mid-level chain is really doing well right now.
No, probably
you know what
not.
I mean? TGI Fridays, Outback, Applebee's. I kind of group all those together. I don't know that they should be grouped together, but in my head, that's the way I see them. And I don't think a lot of those type restaurants are doing well. So,
well, you know why? Bidenomics has pushed that price to a point where now it's like a fancy restaurant. And it's one of those things where you go to Taco Bell, you could spend $11 on 2 tacos, a quesadilla, and a little thing of chips that used to be like 89 cents. Now these middle, like an Applebee's, fast casual.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, now they're steaks, which used to be that you'd go there because you'd be like $12.99. I get a steak, I get some broccoli, I get a potato, I get 2 sides with it. Now that's $25.99. Things like that. Like these places can't, because of Bidenomics, because of the entire supply chain and all the mess that they've made out of everything and the food costs. You can't really compete anywhere. I'd rather go and spend $100 on a steak somewhere nice than an Applebee's and spend $75.
$75 and it just be okay.
Right.
But, I mean, what's the likelihood do we walk in? Because they're saying, MIT is saying, like, rich people go to Applebee's. What is the likelihood? Where'd you say the one was, Cobb Parkway?
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that all 3 of us today at lunch go over there and we run into David Dickey in there?
Zero.
Like 0% chance of that. MIT must be drinking heavily when they put this together.
Their main demographic of all those places are like the greatest generation baby boomers. It's mainly old people, especially during the lunch hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, but
so maybe they have more.
You get business. They probably get some business lunch.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, because it's convenient,
right? But that's the sales staff over here that would go, not David Dickey the millionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Or quadrillionaire,
or whatever
Let's
it is.
Make him into like Scrooge McDuck,
or let's say somebody that runs the Braves, one of the the CEO of the Braves. You know what I mean?
Derek Schiller and David Dickey are having a meeting for the Braves radio network over there.
Not a freaking chance. MIT, what are y'all doing?
No, they're going to Chili's.
Oh yeah, barbecue sauce. Oh no, that's Applebee's. Never mind. What is Chili's? Didn't they have a jingle too? Chili's?
There's this
Chili's, baby back ribs.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, y'all both
barbecue sauce.
Oh, it was barbecue sauce. Okay.
I want my baby back.
Oh, so okay.
You got it right.
Okay, all right.
They do that at the end. They go, barbecue sauce.
Okay, good enough. The most socioeconomically diverse place in America, not public institutions where you would think, and you would want that to happen because they teach you what to think instead of how to think at these schools nowadays. MIT researchers wrote, nope, it's affordable chain restaurants. That's their conclusion of this whole study, is that if you want to be around a diverse group of people, go to damn Applebee's.
Come on.
It seems crazy, doesn't it? It just seems like
that's ridiculous. Nuts. One of the things, again, it's a neighborhood grill. So depending on what neighborhood it is, that's the group of people that will be there.
Not
the people
according
from
to
the
MIT.
neighborhood.
Not according to MIT.
Well, they must live in a very diverse neighborhood.
Well, I would imagine if you're going to MIT or you work at MIT, you're probably doing pretty good.
Because I've been at an Applebee's in New York, and the crowd looked nothing like me or was not diverse. I stood out. But when I go to the Kennesaw one, everybody looks like me, and there's no one else that stands out. Well, so I don't understand.
I'm very offended by your common sense.
Okay.
I'm totally offended that you noticed.
Right?
How dare you?
That's exactly.
But there's not. You have to have the distraction. That's the division of, even in the State of the Union. As he talked about unity, he talked about dividing. Like, they've divided this. I find it funny that I never would have thought of the word brown person. Never used it in my entire life until Biden became president. Like, what's a brown person? I don't know. You're dividing us by colors, by race, by this, and you don't tell the truth. Applebee's is probably very diverse in certain areas, of course, but I don't think it's the most diverse. Like Georgia, University of Georgia, pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Kennesaw State, very diverse.
Yeah, but that's not according to MIT. They say it is. So
okay.
right,
well, you know what? They're so smart. What do I know?
Yeah, right. Well, but look, Last time we trusted the science.
Yeah.
And the scientists, they didn't give us the truth, and we still are trying to recover from that.
I believe their president also said, let's go Hamas.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So she's still there.
Have you heard about the DSAC?
Yes. I don't like the DSAC.
No, me either. But I'm telling you, if you've not heard of it, you listening right now, if you've not heard about DSAC, it is a secret federal portal who tracks people who are against gun restrictions, vaccine hesitant, vaccine mandates, against lockdowns, and support border security. Or the kicker on this one, this is the one that stood out, as you might imagine, buys religious texts like, say, the Bible, but the labeling of the people in DSAC is domestic terrorist. So basically that covers the entirety of the Southeast and the Midwest. Everybody is on the DSAC portal now. We all have a file, if you will. It's like in high school when they said, this is going on your permanent record. And you were nervous a little bit in high school, and then when you graduate high school, you're like, wait, what happens to the permanent? Do they mail it to the next place? Does it go to your first employer? What happens to it? Well, nothing. This actually, though, is the Domestic Security Alliance Council.
Oh.
And it's a FBI and DHS database that profiles entirely off your political beliefs, and they're working with 650 different companies to gather data on Americans using merchant category codes to flag people who shop at Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, or if you go to the Christian bookstore and buy yourself a Bible, you've got a file.
Yeah, this is like a real kick in the DSAC as far as I'm concerned. Because
yes, it is.
I don't want you knowing where I go. I don't need you deciding what I can buy and what I don't. And when you look at the groupings and the category codes that they use to flag people, you realize, okay, this is against one person. And in reality, that one person is we the people, because they don't want the people. I heard Jesse Kelly yesterday on on Extra 106.3, the station that I work for as well. But I heard him talking, and he brought up a really good point. And this is something that a lot of us have thought for a long time. Part of the reason that they're trying to get more diverse in the military, or bring in people like Dylan Mulvaney. However, the way that they're trying to bring people in, they're getting the people out by, like,
are
good
you
soldiers.
Are you
vaccinated or not?
Yeah,
are you
all that, yeah.
Anybody who seemed to be a little bit more conservative, or are we the people, or could actually stand up against the government, they get out. And then
pushed out.
Yeah, they push them out, and then look what they're bringing in. They're arming their own army. That's what it looks like, and I thought Jesse Kelly did a good job doing that. But look at this, Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's. Okay, we're talking about Dick's probably would be on there too. Any gun store will be on there. Anything that they look at and say, hey, what are these people? How do we keep them down? And of course, religion, because it's such a good, tight community, because there's a morality, which is very dangerous to them. Morale.
Of course, that, and the fact that if you have a God that you worship, then you're not worshiping at the altar of government. You're not worshiping at the altar of politics and politicized topics. And they don't want that. They want people that are going to just say, what do you need me to do, government? What, you want me to lock down for 14 days to flatten the curve? Absolutely. I can't wait to tell on my neighbor who won't do this. And all while, you got people like AOC during the lockdown. She traveled to Florida. She was eating outside. There was plenty of politicians that broke the rules that they were enforcing on you. Get this, though. It takes it a step further. The FBI and DHS, they've been requesting personal financial information from banks without warrants to create these profiles, your permanent record, if you will, to keep tabs on Americans who dissent from the government. It is a frightening, chilling thing to hear that your government is tracking you, and they want to know what you think and what you believe, and they're going to use it against you. And if you don't believe that's true, think about the man who protested, the guy from Pennsylvania who peacefully protested in front of an abortion clinic. And they kicked in his front door, and 30 FBI agents had red beams sitting on him from laser scopes, and they did all this in front of his family and his wife. Why do they do that? Why do they put that on television? Because if you do it, they'll do it to you too, and they want you to know it.
The FBI went and arrested a journalist last week when we talk about Steve Baker.
That's right.
The FBI showed up at his door For what? For being on the grounds and writing a story about what was happening? This is the weaponization of the government. And when we talk about the Great Reset, when we talk about what they really want to do, and a centralized banking system, or like we've talked about ESG so many times, this is social governance. This is the first step in social governance. This is exactly what is the biggest problem with this country to me. It's the banking industry controlling our lives. The banking industry is involved in all of this. When Vladimir Putin and Tucker Carlson sat down, there's no doubt in my mind that one thing that Putin said that was correct is that everything, including the media, when you look at the parent companies, when you look where they're formed, it's a financial industry. And they want to control where you go, what you're doing, what you're buying, and they want to know where you're at all times.
It is chilling, and it should be chilling to know that your government is doing this. The only retribution, the only recourse you have is to vote these fools out. You absolutely have to rally the troops. You have to talk to every one of your friends and family and get them to go vote. And if you think the Democrats are just going to throw in the towel because they know Joe Biden can't win, you're wrong. They are going to do everything that they did in 2020. They will continue it in 2024. And you must be able to overcome that. You have to. You have to be able to overcome it, because otherwise we get 4 more years of Joe Biden. You better talk to every person you know. And this is not a scare tactic. I'm not trying to be scared. I'm just telling you the truth.
Should be scared, though.
You better talk to every person you know and help them get registered to vote, because you have to overcome any of the silly games, not silly, any of the effective games that the left is going to use. You have to.
Yeah, and you can't use fear, like you just said. I mean, this is something you need to go and say, hey, listen, this is important. This is why we need you to look at the economy. This is why we need you to look at what's happening with the border, how many people are dying because of what's coming across the border and what's going across the other way in human trafficking. These are important issues that face every American. We need to be safe here, and you need to talk to people in your neighborhood. That's why local and getting out there and canvassing seems to work. Democrats do it better than we do. They always have. When election season comes, when it comes time to register to vote, as we continue to get closer, we're going to see Democrats at every gas station, at every corner, everywhere, knocking on doors. Are we prepared to do the same to save this republic?
That's a great question. And we'll only know the answer in November of this year. That's when we'll know the answer, in what situation we find ourselves. I guarantee you, maybe, Joe, you might not be on this list. I don't know. But, Rhino, you're on the list. I'm on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely on the list. Everybody I know and hang out with.
Man, I love Bass Pro.
You're on the list. You're on the list. The DSAC, as it's called.
I sat on my DSAC one time.
Seriously, it's Morning Xtra at Xtra 106.3.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, March 8th. Georgia's largest ever economic development project, as touted by Governor Brian Kemp, is on hold. Startup company Rivian has announced it will put the construction of their $5 billion vehicle and battery plant in Georgia on hold. The company, who has been facing layoffs and financial losses, say they have not canceled the project altogether and will keep the state updated on its plans. The Georgia House passed spending plan for fiscal 2025 by a vote of 172-1 yesterday. The spending plan includes 4% raises for many state workers, law enforcement, education, and mental health programs. State law enforcement employees would receive $3,000 raises. Teachers would be getting $2,500 more, and more money will be used for school security upgrades. The bill now heads to the state Senate for approval. And in sports, NFL free agency begins on Monday, and the Falcons say they're going to be a little light on their feet. Kirk Cousins, quarterback, is one of their options. Will they make the cut? They are looking for a quarterback in the offseason.
I just want to look like Mike Johnson did when he was shaking his head and rolling his eyes at Joe Biden with that deadpan look, like, I cannot believe what I'm hearing. And just sighing deeply. It's like a parent when their kid is screwing up and they know it and they've already talked to him about it and the kid's screwing up anyway. That's the way Mike Johnson was looking last night. It was so perfect. Just looking down his nose like, I cannot believe I'm sitting here with this fool who's running.
Well, I don't think you could believe it, right?
No, yes.
I couldn't believe it.
Yes,
I would have shaken my head, too. Like, this guy's lying and everybody's clapping.
In the beginning, I was a little not angry, but a little irritated that he was clapping along too many times. I was like, what the heck are you clapping about? There ain't nothing to clap about.
You have to. Like, there are certain things, like, you can't not clap
Sit
at,
on your
like,
hands.
I
Sit
know.
on your hands. At least for me, there's not a chance I'm clapping for anything he said. And maybe he's better than I in the
if
fact
he says
that he's
God
more
bless the
respectful.
troops, I'm going to be...
Yeah, exactly. But there was so much more that wasn't even near God. And he was, it was a golf clap. It wasn't any, he wasn't like crazy trained seal.
Right, he didn't stand up like the idiot next to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But anyway. All right, when we continue, Democrats proved one thing in voting against the Lincoln Riley bill that was
Is he at
passed.
USC now?
He is at USC. Did you see the tweet? And this is not funny at all, but it's kind of funny at the same time. Some woman, Elle Buckner, and her Twitter handle or X handle is Emily Bama by 50. So obviously a college football fan. She tweets a picture of actually Lincoln Riley in his USC garb, and it says "In the Arms of the Angels," like the Sarah McLachlan song. And our buddy Front Office Los early this morning just quote tweets it "R.I.P. to Lincoln Riley" because our president does have any idea what he's talking about. All right, we'll be right back. This is Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Yeah, the BBC puts blacks in Robin Hood now, and all Mary Queen of Scots had black women in her entourage and everything, and I'll fall for that as soon as they cast a white guy, some Norwegian, as Shaka Zulu.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
What's your retirement plan? Master Plan Retirement Consultants specialize in constructing plans designed to meet the challenges you could face over the course of a retirement. As holistic retirement planners, we cover tax, income, Social Security, legacy, healthcare, and long-term care planning. Our strategies are designed to maximize your retirement savings and income while minimizing taxes and protecting your assets from forces that could disrupt your retirement, providing peace of mind. A fiduciary advisory firm, Master Plan Retirement, works with you to create the potential for a sustainable retirement and a legacy to be remembered. Join us on our weekly radio show, Retirement Roadmap, every Saturday at 12 p.m. on Extra 106.3 as we discuss retirement topics for today's financial environment. Episodes can also be found on YouTube and on your podcast platform. Find us at masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
Jordan B. Peterson, We Who Wrestle with God Tour.
If you say the truth and nothing else, you'll have an immense adventure as a consequence. You won't know what's going to happen to you, but the truth will reveal the world the way it's intended to be revealed, and the consequence for you will be that you'll have the adventure of your life.
Jordan B. Peterson, live at State Farm Arena, Friday, March 15th. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at FirstLibertyGA.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. With daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with a Morning Extra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
Since we've been talking so much about the president and his State of the Union speech last night, let us know what you think about it, good, bad, or indifferent. 404-741-1230 or at Extra 106.3 across all the social media platforms. You can find me at Tug Cowart, Rhino at Rhino Extra 106.3, and then Front Office Los, who's out today on vacation with his family down with his girls playing volleyball. At Front Office Los is where you can find him. But we'd love to know what you think and love your feedback, whether you're listening on the app, 106.3, 1230, or streaming us on YouTube at Extra 106.3. What's got you?
Well, the housing industry and, all the lies that we talked about the economy and how great it is. And people are born, we're building more homes. No, what you're doing is the government is building homes to put people in. And like we just saw on here, 2000, when you go back to 2019 and you look at what people were paying to get into a home at about $1,300 as of today, with the mortgage rates and everything else and the economy the way it's going, you're now paying $2,400.
That's unbelievable.
So that's $1,000, almost $1,100 more for the same exact house.
Yeah, it's insane. I want you to hear from Kamala Harris. This was prior to. Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. Here, I want to punish all of you with this earworm.
I want to make you laugh because it made me laugh. This was prior to the State of the Union. It was a few days ago. She had this word salad where she sounded completely drunk in her stop at Madison, Wisconsin. But because it's Joe Biden that's always talking about. Democracy is on the line. Trump is going to ruin democracy. We must save democracy. You got to hear what she says about democracy.
Because when we think about the strength of our democracy, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, it's so strong in terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature.
Yes, it is.
And it is very fragile.
Yes, very fragile. Don't forget that part.
It will only be as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
Okay, listen.
What did she just say?
This is okay, Katie Britt. I apologize. This sounds like a crazy woman sitting at her table trying to tell you about all the things in politics I know.
Yeah, right. Who's
so strong?
Who's about 3 glasses deep of red wine? She sounded drunk as a bicycle, dude. I've never heard it.
Drunk as a bicycle.
You ever seen a bicycle that some kid
just like the wobbly wheel?
That, or when they take it to the top of the hill and they don't ride it down, they just let the bicycle go down the hill. So it stays up there for a minute and then it starts getting wobbly, and then it just end over, just drunk as a bicycle, man. Just the worst of the worst word salad I've ever. Democracy.
Or she's a drunk bicycle.
Could be that too. Yeah.
Said nobody jumps off her.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry.
No, but seriously though, democracy is so wonderful. And then she's trying to figure out where to go after that.
Right.
She's had it's like, the duality of democracy.
Do you think in her head she was like, I don't even really know what democracy is. They just told me to say, like, everybody else besides me is a threat to it.
I have no doubt she's a smart woman.
I do. I do now.
No, I'm telling you, I don't doubt she's a smart woman. I just don't know how much common sense she has.
What have you seen, though, that, like, would have said to you, like, there is some smartness in this one? Because I haven't seen... I understand, like, she's a lawyer. She went to college. But then again, I also saw a president of Harvard University that plagiarized her entire way through there. Yeah. And I know how that they use affirmative action to get certain people and certain things going into the colleges that they need to be. I haven't seen her say a smart thing, though. Like, where's the smartness in it? Like, I just don't. We see this. You saying their smartness is like them telling me that Biden is cognitively great at this point, right?
I'm searching, Rhino.
You see, you're having a hard time too.
I'm just trying to. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm sure there's some. I'm sure she's smart, right?
What did all that mean? What did that mean?
Well, that meant nothing. That was hogwash. That was nothing. I have no idea what she said.
It's just another ridiculous word salad. Like, hey, camera on, talk. Don't know what to say, just say.
There has to be. She has to be smart. She has to be.
You want to think that?
I want to think she's
of
smart.
course.
All right. Anyway, moving on because I cannot think of anything that makes her smart, and I've lost this battle.
You were working hard on it.
Stand down. I was doing a Google search, give me something, throw something up there that made me. She said this smart, and I couldn't find anything. So. That's right. That's right. I'll take it. I deserve that. The immigration bill, the House immigration bill, it was coined the Laken Riley bill, and it did pass in the House on yesterday, and it will require the detention of migrants who committed burglary or theft, legislation, and obviously named after Laken Riley. Now get this. It cleared 251 to 170. 37 Democrats did join in voting yes.
Mm-hmm.
What about the clowns that voted no? Like, what are they telling you by saying we will not protect you? It is our stated on record opinion that you are not important to us. Your safety's not important. We will not cooperate. We will not do anything to make America safer. We will not secure the border. We're not doing any of those things. And we want you to know it, so much so that we put it on the record in our vote.
Why would you vote against this?
I have no idea.
Why would you vote? I would love to hear from anybody who's a Democrat or anybody who has an idea of why you would vote against this. I could tell you what they're going to tell you, that it's a racist bill. But in those terms alone, that's racism, what they're saying. Because what they're saying is only one group is illegal. Now, we have people coming from all over the world. Chinese nationalists. We have Europeans from areas like Russia, Ukraine, that come here through the border. We've seen it. We've seen all sorts of people come through the border. The other thing is they're trying to pretend that this bill only protects white people. This is the spin that they're putting on it. Laken Riley happened to be a white girl, so they think that's the only person being protected. No, this protects all Americans. That's why I don't understand why Democrats would vote against this.
Because they don't care about Americans.
I think that's they care about the power and the vote.
170 Democrats said no. On the record, we will not vote to deport people who commit crimes after already committing a crime by coming across the border illegally. We will not deport anybody who commits a crime that will ultimately lead to more crimes being committed. We won't do it. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you care about. It doesn't matter. You are not important to us. That's it. There's nothing else you can take away from it. I can't think of anything else you get from that. There's just nothing else there. Please inform me. Help me understand where I'm wrong on this. I'm open to listening. 404-741-1230. I bet we don't get one call in defense. Because how could you? How could you? But if you're listening, please do. Joe Biden got only one thing right during last night's State of the Union address, and it was by accident that he did that. We'll talk about it next on Xtra 106.3. Neil Bortz Report, Fox News Update, and more of the Morning Xtra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Our republic is in trouble. If you don't recognize that, you ain't right. But how do we solve it? Recently, I've become more interested in something called an Article 4 Convention of States. Article 4 says that upon the application of 3/4 of the state legislatures, a convention will be called to propose and approve or reject new amendments to our Constitution. Wow, I have some new amendments I'd like to propose. I know you're sitting on the edge of your seat. You want to hear them right now. First of all, a balanced federal budget, except in times of a declared war. Number 2, term limits for all members of the Congress and the Senate. Give senators 2 terms, 12 years. Give congressmen 4 terms, 8 years. And there's my favorite, the quickest, I think, easiest way to take power away from the federal government and give it back to the states. That's where our founders wanted governance to be. And that would be to repeal the 17th Amendment to our Constitution. Now, when you go out on the streets, you talk to 50 people, not one of them, maybe one, would be able to tell you what the 17th Amendment did. I'll tell you, it called for U.S. senators to be elected by popular vote instead of appointed by state legislatures. That's the way it was originally. So with the ratification of the 17th Amendment, the power of the states just dissolved into that behemoth in Washington, D.C. Why did our Constitution set up a bicameral legislature, representatives and senators? Because the representatives would represent the people and be elected by the people. The states would appoint the senators and have some power in Washington. I'm going to continue to study this. Good luck. Stay tuned. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
So, Robert, I want to thank you for your time. I just don't think you're the right person for this position.
I don't understand. Was it something I said?
Well, we did a background check on you and found some things of concern.
If you're in charge of hiring for your company, you know how helpful a background screening can be. That's why companies that use Horizon background screening make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com. horizonscreening.com.
Hey there, it's Janelle King, host of The Janelle King Show, right here on Extra 106.3 FM, where we are unafraid and unapologetic. We explore the topics that matter the most. You can catch us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and encore episode on Sundays at 9 a.m. And catch up on past episodes by going to the podcast park right here at Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts every single Tuesday. Until then, stay unafraid, stay unapologetic, and never stop seeking the truth.
Neil Bortz is live every day on Extra 106.3. And if you missed the legend, you missed this.
Why do you think Biden opened the borders? Look, they plan ahead. Okay, we're going to let them in now, and it's going to cause a lot of turmoil and millions coming across the border, and we're going to take some heat for that, and we might even lose an election or two along the way. But eventually, we're going to be able to get this path to citizenship. Eventually, they're going to be able to vote, and they will vote for us.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
He made the case for 4 more years. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden says the State of the Union is strong, but...
My purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment.
Saying freedom and democracy are under assault, taking numerous swipes at his likely rematch rival, though never mentioning former President Trump by name.
Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
The president also vowed to restore women's abortion rights, and he got a lot of support from fellow Democrats on this.
Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't.
In a State of the Union Republican response, Senator Katie Britt said,
"Our commander-in-chief is not in command. The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader."
And at times, Republicans interrupted the president.
Really?
Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene shouted Laken Riley, a nursing student killed in Georgia last month. He acknowledged her.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed. by an illegal.
And then President Biden went on to tell Riley's parents, as someone who's lost children, he understands what they're going through. The president was also heckled by the father of a Marine killed in the suicide bombing during the chaotic 2021 U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan. Stephen Nakui was removed by Capitol Police and arrested. President Biden also urged Congress to approve stalled military aid for Ukraine in the fight against Russia. And he also said, as he keeps pushing for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas,
I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters.
America's listening to Fox News.
You know, our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, they manufacture a line of very high quality rifles, shotguns, and revolvers that you can be very proud to own. Now, they're made in America with parts and materials also from America. Now, they use old world craftsmanship combined with cutting edge technology to deliver reliable and accuracy that you can trust in any situation. Now, they're easy to use and maintain. It makes them an excellent choice for both a novice and experienced shooter. Henry has over 200 models, so you can find the firearm that's right for you. There's also new releases all throughout the year, and every purchase is backed by their lifetime warranty and the company's owner. Anthony Imperato also gives his personal guarantee for 100% satisfaction. Now, make sure you go to their website, henryusa.com, order their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. You're going to love this company and these firearms like I do.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
Tug Rhino, front office Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Get the app so you can listen live and on demand. You can stream us on the YouTube channel at Extra 106.3 is the handle there. 404-741-1230. Your thoughts, your reflections on the State of the Union address. We'd love to hear from you. And or if you just want to tweet at us, you can do that too. It's at Extra 106.3 across all the social media platforms. I am disappointed that the folks in New Hampshire basically rejected a bill that would turn wild animals like kangaroos, monkeys, and raccoons into household pets. Because my mama, she had a pet raccoon. My cousin had a pet raccoon when I was growing up. I've seen people that I was raised with and around up in Northwest Georgia and Dalton that had odd. I told y'all one time, this is when I was either really young or before I was born, and I don't remember it, but I remember all the stories. My mama decided to buy an alligator when she was down in Florida and brought it home. An alligator walking around in the front yard in Dalton, Georgia. So these people in New Hampshire, they see us down here with our exotic pets, and they're having none of it.
These animals really are not appropriate for home pet ownership. They are essentially wild animals.
He told me that they are perpetually vicious and angry and petulant 2-year-olds. That's how they behave.
Kangaroos could kill children, maim people. I mean, some of these animals are just inane to even think of these as household pets.
Well, I mean, they could kick you, but I don't mean, they just kick, right? That's all they do, and carry their kids around in a little sack. I mean,
yeah, I would ride around in a kangaroo. I'd enjoy that more as a child rather than being killed.
My Aunt Joe and my uncle
They're good boxers, though, aren't they?
I think so, yes. Yeah. I've seen them stand on
Some
the tail.
Some of them look like they've been doing steroids. Some of those kangaroos.
My aunt and uncle, when I was a kid, and I vaguely, very, very slightly remember the fact that they had this monkey when I was a kid. So, my family has had their share. Aunt Peeps, she's got all the chickens. She's getting 2 goats. It's incredible. So I don't think they're saying you can't have goats, but what I am saying is raccoons shouldn't be on this list. If you want to ban kangaroos, maybe. Sure. But raccoons?
Well, they go to one news story that you find, and you could probably find it, and I'm not just talking about one specific one, but you hear the news of a stupid parent putting a raccoon in a crib with their 6-month-old, and now raccoons will kill every child in the world no matter what. So because of that one instance, because, Democrats, they love to take advantage of one instance and make it political and now say, none of you can have raccoons because dummy put it in the crib with their 6-month-old.
Right. And I just think this is wrong, and I would like to point out, if you like exotic animals, then I hope this doesn't come to Georgia. That y'all keep this up in New Hampshire. We want this. We don't want this here.
Yeah. Keep your monkeys.
I'm telling you.
Just discipline your
Call
monkeys.
me crazy.
Okay.
But I kind of agree with New Hampshire on this one.
On what part?
On kangaroos, monkeys.
Why?
Raccoons. Because with cats and dogs, we've bred them to be docile. We've bred them to be household pets.
Sure.
The other ones are wild.
Have you never seen a trained squirrel?
Right.
Oh, I've seen them train squirrels. Those are crazy.
Then what are you talking
about? Water skiing?
What about trained bears?
Because those are so little, they can't do jack.
Well, they could,
really?
They could bite your freaking finger off.
Tell that to my bill after having to get my roof redone because of those little bastards.
I've trapped some in the attic in the house I used to live in.
Yeah, but those are untrained, and people train squirrels and raccoons. I've seen it my entire life.
Erin had a pet raccoon, and
thank you.
She had a pet possum.
There you go.
Ugh, nasty.
No, they were cute.
No, they're ugly. They're so ugly, they're cute.
I don't know.
Can we agree on
Raccoons are cute.
Raccoons? Oh no, raccoons are absolutely cute. I love
Possums
them.
are
And
cute
raccoons,
too.
No, they're hideous.
they're
hideous.
clean with their little pink noses and their
They're
pink
so
eyes and their little
ugly,
white
they're cute.
fur.
I think they're so ugly they're cute because they look like they have Barbie doll hair.
I used to call that fugly.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, but like you brought up bears. I told you about my friend.
Yeah.
In Calhoun when I was growing up, his daddy had 2 bears, and he would take them to high schools and they would wrestle in the gym.
That he declawed and de-teethed.
Yeah, he did all that. Yeah, that's right. I didn't say it was right.
Right.
I didn't say it was the right thing to do. I'm just telling you, I got in there with these bears and I fed them colonial bread.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Why not?
It was awesome.
That's
they
pretty
were
cool.
great. I mean, it was just like the softest white bread you've ever had in your whole life, and them bears will eat it up.
I think you just need to
Pat 'em on their
understand.
big old head.
Animals will be animals, but if you get them to a point where you can have some kind of human reaction, that's fine. Now, one day they may have ripped little Tug's head off while feeding that bread, but they never did. They were docile at that point.
They've moved on to the great beyond now.
But you still have to be very careful around those kind of wild animals. You just always have to remember in the back of your head, they're still wild.
Yes, no, all that's correct.
That's it.
That's all. Yeah, you have to be careful. No doubt about it.
And if you train your kangaroo to be a mean boxing kangaroo,
then it's going to
Then it's going to be. Just like if I trained my pit bull to be the sweetest, lovingest, most beautiful animal, it's the sweetest, loving, most beautiful animal.
That's what you teach them.
Yes.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Just like kids.
Yeah. 100%. All that's true.
I know a-holes that have a-hole kids. There's a reason for that.
That's right. And I would rather be around animals a lot of times than human beings. I mean,
look,
once
come
in a
on.
while.
That's a look at.
Holy Lord, that one is kind of cute.
See,
when was that?
That wasn't
several
that long
years ago.
No, it wasn't even that long ago.
Okay, so what happened is Rhino just showed me a picture of his girlfriend Erin and her baby possum pet. It's
cute.
No, it's really, really cute.
Yeah.
I don't think I've.
Look at that face.
Now, I don't think it's going to stay cute.
The baby possums are so cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
You're coming around.
I saw them from right here, and I'm like, oh, man.
Now you're coming
Once those
around.
things get to adult, and they've got that long rat tail.
Yeah.
And they're all...
And the Barbie doll hair, where it's all half pulled out. Yes. Yeah,
nasty.
They're not quite.
I once had to chase a raccoon with a broom underneath a cabin.
I want an armadillo.
Well, look,
those are
things,
cool.
They are cool, but
you run up and they turn into a ball, and then you can kick them.
Yeah, well, I don't want you to do that.
They're fun. We used to.
Yeah.
So I was at a golf tournament in Oklahoma, and we were at Karsten Creek, which is where Oklahoma State University plays. But beautiful course, great. And at night, the armadillos would be running around and doing their thing, blah blah blah. I don't know what they do, but there was one part of the driving range where it started rolling downhill. Well, they'd run up there, and then you go up, and then they turn into a ball, and you just kind of scoot them down there, and they just roll down the hill. It's a lot of fun. They're fine at the bottom.
Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. If you've got crazy exotic animals like my family has had my entire life, and I know y'all probably think I'm making this stuff up, but I swear to the good Lord in heaven, strike me down with a bolt of lightning today if I'm lying to you.
So what would be?
That's why I'm telling you. Like, I have no fear of it because all of it's real.
I don't think Laura would allow it, but let's just say she said you could pick whatever exotic animal that would remind you of your childhood. Which one would you grab? Would it be an alligator? Would it be a raccoon? Would it be?
That's a great question. We had okay, here's another story.
I love this.
My mom and daddy, they had this parrot. It was a green parrot. and it was about, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches tall.
Oh,
really,
wow.
really smart.
Nice.
Now it would bite the piss out of you.
Yeah.
It would bite so hard. I didn't mess with it a whole lot because that thing would bite.
It could, like, those things can take your finger, like the tip of your finger off, right?
And let me tell you, it broke the skin every time it did. And it was quick. It was so fast. It was strike like a damn snake. Ah! And so anyway, but it was so good to my mama. It would never bite my mama ever. It bit my daddy every time. It bit my sister every time. It bit me every time. Never bit my mama. So
how'd that thing survive? You would think just natural reaction by accident.
Just a punch. Yeah, my daddy hated it, and it was named Polly. Of course, Mama didn't come up with anything.
Well, it's better than just parody.
Yeah, I guess so. And it could say Pretty Polly, and it had started saying a lot of words.
Did you teach it curse words?
No, because I ain't cussing.
Oh, you're
from
a
my
good
mama.
kid. Yeah,
I ain't cussing from my mama. So Mama had taught it a bunch of stuff, and it would get up on her shoulder, and it would say kiss, 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 and it's right there in her ear, and you could hear it moving its little beak and everything, and it got out, and it flew to the top of the tallest pine tree in our backyard.
Yeah,
and it stayed up there for days, and Mama was so upset. She tried to call the fire department, and they said, "Look, we can't come get a bird out of here." She's like, "This is my bird. You have to come." And they just wouldn't. Finally, it just flew off, and we never heard from it again. Mama was so upset. Several weeks later, some people that we knew were down in Savannah, and they were reading the newspaper in Savannah, and they said there was someone in Savannah, Georgia, that a random green parrot landed on their shoulder out of nowhere, unexpectedly, wasn't their bird, and landed on their shoulder and started saying kiss, kiss in the person's ear.
Oh, no.
That was in the newspaper in Savannah, Georgia. It had to be.
Did you guys track it down? No, why not?
No,
I'd be like, that's my bird.
Exactly. But no, they never did. But Mom was like, she was relieved that it was still alive. But it was in the Savannah newspaper about that. And she was like, that's my bird. That is my bird. And still
so
to this
you
day,
take that one back?
Well, I mean, I don't want it back, but Mama wanted it, But if we called her right now, she would confirm that story.
Okay, call her.
It was freaking so cool.
That's so cool.
She's on the school bus right now.
That's right. I want to, I would love to have a parrot. I would teach it, fun things like, Biden sucks. That's a lie.
So, State of the Union last night, there was a lot of things that were being parroted.
Oh.
All the nonsense lines.
I'm going to stand up like the vice president for that
one. A lot of the nonsense lines. Y'all, have you thought about this? The first president to be declared legally incompetent to stand trial because his memory is so bad. This was from the Her report. We can't prosecute him. He is not legally competent to stand trial. Gave the State of the Union last night. First time ever, I would imagine. And then, to make it better, the walls don't work. And those executive orders that Trump put in that slowed illegal immigration down to a trickle were all removed. They went ahead and put a 12-foot fence around the entirety of the Capitol, even though walls don't work. That's the way the night started, y'all, for the State of the Union.
It was a complete embarrassment. It was a lie fest after a lie fest, but I love the way you put that. We had a man that they said couldn't stand trial because mentally he's not there. And this is the man telling us the State of the Union, which he never really talked about the actual State of the Union. America's strong, the economy's strong. No, it's not. Both lies. But he's up there and he has no idea what's going on half the time. I mean, I love the way you put that. Why was he up there? It was a very weird thing. We know that he was hopped up on drugs. Donald Trump at 10 hours, right in. The drugs are wearing off.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody sees it. Everybody knows.
Speaking of Donald Trump, he said my predecessor is bad, essentially, 25 times. 25 times he said Donald Trump is bad without saying Donald Trump is bad. That's what he did. The entirety of that speech was how, we need to be unified. And yet he demonized 50% of the country. He talked about abortion. And if you're not in support of it, then you're wrong. If you think killing a baby in the womb is not okay, then you're probably on the DSAC list.
Yeah.
That's what I took away. That's what I took away from last night. There was so much heckling at the State of the Union. And I know I've talked about this 3 times, but I don't think it could be talked about enough. So much heckling at the State of the Union. But the Gold Star father, he was the one arrested? That's the person you choose to arrest? I, for the life of me, don't know why everybody that stood up and chanted 4 more years weren't arrested. Why Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't arrested because she shouted out, say her name, talking about Laken Riley, who freaking Joe Biden called Lincoln Riley. And yet, the Gold Star dad, whose son died in the service of America, is the person, when he shouted something out, he was the one arrested. What does that tell you about the mindset of Washington, D.C. and the people that run it? What does it tell you about the mindset of Joe Biden and the Democrats? And where were the Republicans shouting, do not arrest that man? Where were they?
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed that they didn't stand up and defend that Gold Star father. That is enough for me to despise the Republicans just as much as I do the Democrats. That one thing. Steve Nakui was arrested for shouting because his son died in the service to this nation. That's my takeaway from the State of the Union. That's it.
That and Capitol Police, the FBI, Secret Service, they're all weaponized against the American people. A father. That's who they're weaponized against. I think it was a very, very strong photo op. I don't want to say photo op. I'm sorry. I want to say it was a strong message to see on TV them turning on an American citizen who was upset with the way that our president got 13 service members killed. Ugh. That's the disrespect they showed. And they showed so much disrespect. You showed up to the State of the Union late. Not just late.
Yeah.
Very
like
late.
Crazy late.
Donald Trump also yesterday on Truth Social. They are very late. Really late. Very disrespectful to our country.
And it is. It is. It'd be different if this wasn't Grandpa just running late, but that's exactly what it was. Mm-hmm. Like, they were trying to figure out, how do we get around the protesters? How do we get Joe pumped up with enough whatever to drugs to keep him going through the majority of the speech? And I guess they succeeded in that. I mean, they were late and got started late, and it was like, he was like the Energizer Bunny running through it. It didn't seem natural. There was nothing that I took away except half the country is bad, and if you don't agree with us, you're evil. That's what I took away. So much for unity. So much for the greatness of America, because that's not what was said in that speech. Morning Xtra on Extra 106.3. Final thought.
Yeah, I was also going to say, he didn't bring up East Palestine.
No, of course
he didn't
not.
bring up Maui and the fires there and how they're recovering. He didn't bring up anything about the American people. It was about Ukraine and our fight for them.
Yeah. Ugh. 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, March 8th. Georgia's largest ever economic development project, as touted by Governor Brian Kemp, is on hold. Startup company Rivian has announced it will put the construction of their $5 billion vehicle and battery plant in Georgia on hold. The company, who has been facing layoffs and financial losses, say they have not canceled the project altogether and will keep the state updated on its plans. We're going to discuss a little more in depth about this coming up. The Georgia House passed spending plan for fiscal 2025 by a vote of 172-1 yesterday. The spending plan includes 4% raises for many state workers, law enforcement, education, and mental health programs. State law enforcement employees would receive $3,000 raises. Teachers would be getting $2,500 more, and more money will be used for school security upgrades. The bill now heads to the state for Senate approval. And in sports, NFL free agency begins on Monday, and the Falcons say they're going to be light on their feet, and Kirk Cousins is of interest to the team. Don't know if they'll actually pull the cord on that one.
The man representing Georgia's 1st District, Buddy Carter, joins us next to discuss what he saw as he sat in the House chamber last night during the State of the Union address. On Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, after we're done at 10. Then you get the Glenn Beck program, Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, and of course the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder Kimmer show, 3 until 6.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack. We specialize in only foundation repair. What is foundation repair? Foundations sink or settle. These issues need to be addressed. It only becomes more costly the longer you put it off. What is the biggest cause of foundation problem? Either poor construction, inferior site preparation, or weather. Drought causes cracks in your foundations. If you see any signs of foundation issues, please contact us at atlantaramjack.com.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
Don't miss the Atlanta Mushroom Festival, Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day at Park Tavern in Piedmont Park. Beginning at 12 p.m. and ending at 7 p.m., this dog and family-friendly event features educational speakers, live music, and over 35 mushroom-themed vendors. Tickets are free with email registration or $10 for Comfort VIP, which directly supports the nonprofit festival. For more information, visit AtlantaMushroomFestival.com or Atlanta Mushroom Festival on all social platforms.
March is the month of marriage, and we're celebrating at Solomon Brothers Jewelers with our annual Marry Me March event. Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon from Solomon Brothers Jewelers, and we are here to help couples tie the knot this month with engagement rings and wedding bands at this year's best prices. All this month, we are offering savings of up to 60% off rings and wedding bands from our top designs like halos, the hidden halo, single shared prong, double shared prong, and every design you can imagine in our store. Choose from our selection of hundreds of beautiful rings in every budget or hand design the ring of their dreams. Remember, no matter the price, you'll find something nice. So don't miss our Marry Me March event going on all this month and save up to 60% off engagement rings and wedding bands. Visit us today in any of our 3 showrooms on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and now in Peachtree City. Or shop online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. Who will succeed Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell as the Senate GOP leader? It's almost too early to divine where another power center will emerge, thus dictating who will succeed McConnell as the Senate's top Republican. Yes, for now, look at the 3 Johns. Senate Minority Whip John Thune, former Whip John Cornyn, and Senate Republican Conference Chairman John Barrasso. GOP Florida Senator Rick Scott and someone like Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas could be in play. Other figures may emerge, especially dark horses. As we've said before, leadership elections in Congress are not partisan politics, they are particle politics. Factors which determine who is propelled into leadership are decided at the subatomic political level. Thus, it's hard to see who might prevail. Consider how former House Speaker John Boehner won, or how former House Speaker Paul Ryan got his job despite saying he wasn't interested. Here's a name. Imagine Republicans prevail with a substantial majority in the Senate this fall. Look at GOP Montana Senator Steve Daines. He's heading the Senate GOP's campaign arm this cycle. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Finally, there is conservative talk in Atlanta, Georgia.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. We are honored to have the man that represents Georgia's 1st District, Buddy Carter, who was in the chamber last night for the State of the Union address. And we've talked about it all morning, Buddy. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I want to know what you thought of everything that was said last night, because we have had we've had our opinions on it. But as a man who saw it, how do you respond to it? What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, I thought I was going to hear a State of the Union address, but instead what I felt like I heard was a pep rally for the Democratic Party. I was really disappointed in a number of things. First of all, I was disappointed in his grasp of the border. He really does not understand what is going on down there. I've been to the border 8 times in the last 10 years. The last time was about a month ago. And I can tell you it's as bad now as it's ever been. I saw a wall that was started by Barack Obama, that was continued by Donald Trump, and that was stopped by Joe Biden. I've learned some things that I did not know before, and that is that now there are more non-Mexicans coming across that border than there are Mexicans. The Border Patrol also told us that the street price of fentanyl has plummeted. Now, that's simple economics. That is supply and demand. The supply is so high now with fentanyl in our country that it's dirt cheap. Yeah, and there are 200 people dying every day as a result of fentanyl poisoning. And this president created this problem. It's as if when he got into office, the first thing he said was, I'm going to do the opposite of whatever Donald Trump was doing. That's what I'm going to do when it comes to the border. And he has. And now we went from having one of the most secure borders that we've ever had to having a border that is in total chaos. Secondly, he talked about the economy, and he wanted to tout the fact that, inflation went up to 7%. We've got it down to 3.7% now, as if we should be celebrating that. Let me remind him that when he took office, the inflation rate was at 1.4%, and people are still hurting. Day one, he declared war on American energy, resulting in higher gas prices, resulting in higher food prices. Right now, the percentage of the average person's budget that goes toward food is as high as it's been in decades. And a lot of the reason for the food prices is the energy prices. Not only that, but the thing that upset me the most was when he talked about prescription drugs. As you know, I'm a pharmacist. And I felt like the prescription portion of the IRA was the worst legislation that I've ever seen in my 10 years in the Georgia State Legislature and 10 years in Congress. It is the worst legislation I've ever seen. When they are going out and they are supposedly getting bids from pharmaceutical manufacturers, this is not getting bids. This is extortion is what they're doing. Why am I so upset about that? Because it is ruining research and development. In my years of practice of pharmacy, I've seen nothing short of miracles as a result of research and development. Last night, my guest for the State of the Union address was Janelle Stevenson. Janelle was one of the first patients to go through the clinical trial 6 years ago for sickle cell anemia therapy, curative therapy. She was cured. She has been without sickle cell anemia for 6 years. This past December, the FDA finally approved that curative treatment for sickle cell anemia. That's the kind of research and development. That's the kind of miracles that I've seen in my years of practice. But if he continues, and now he wants to increase the number of drugs that they're getting bids on from 10 to 50, it's been estimated that this will result in 273 fewer cures coming to market than if they weren't in place. So what did I think about the speech? I wasn't impressed at all. I was extremely disappointed.
Yeah, the left celebrated it. Buddy Carter joining us here on the Morning Extra. Buddy, the one thing that got to me, and Tug and I, of course, were going back and forth, texting each other, and we said, hey, he has gone on about everything when it comes to Ukraine. He's gone on about issues that most Americans don't care about. How do you not come out talking about the two most important topics, which, of course, are the economy and the border? They're that afraid of losing this election over the economy and things that Americans actually care about.
They are, and I was wondering if he was even going to mention the border. And look, I support Ukraine. I support Israel. Of course we do. Republicans do support them. We don't want Putin to be successful. But when I'm in the district, one of the most frequently asked questions that I get when I'm in the district is, how can you justify sending money to another country to secure their border when our border is not secure? And there's really not a good answer to that. We've got to secure the border. Now, he wanted to talk about the bill, the amnesty, the immigration bill that was sent over here from the Senate. And that's what it was. It was an amnesty bill. It was an immigration bill. It wasn't a border bill. The border bill is sitting in the Senate right now. It's H.R. 2. It's what we sent from the House over to the Senate. They need to take action on H.R. 2, and then we can get something done. Look, we get it. We understand Ukraine needs help. We understand that Israel needs help. We're going to make sure that happens, but we've got to get our border secured first.
Talking to U.S. Representative Buddy Carter, who was in the chamber last night for the State of the Union address and his thoughts on it. I want to tell you, as many things as I've heard, and you've hit a lot of them, that were disappointed. I expected just a semblance of unity. I heard division. I expected just so much more pro-America. I didn't hear that. I heard half the country is bad, the other half is on his side. But the most angry that I got is of the protest, of all the protests that went on, from Marjorie Taylor Greene to the protest in support of Joe Biden, 4 more years shouting it out loud. The one man that protested about his son dying, the Gold Star dad that was arrested during the State of the Union address, made me more angry than anything else. Can you help me understand why he was arrested and why none of the other people shouting other things were arrested? Because you have to understand by now, you don't have freedom of speech. It's inconvenient, and they will not have it. You don't have anybody to complain to. It is all political theater. Why was that man arrested and no one else was for doing the same things?
He should not have been arrested. He should have freedom of speech just like anyone else does. Just because you're a member of Congress doesn't mean that you get a free ride on something like this. We should be treated the same way as anyone else, and he should be treated the same way as members of Congress. I was very disappointed. My heart went out to him. And I got to say, the one thing about his speech last night is that he did say Laken Riley's name. Unfortunately, he mispronounced it. He said the wrong name. From what I understand, I want to go back and listen to the tape, but this morning in the gym, the buzz was that he called her Lincoln.
He did.
Riley.
He did. Like the football coach at USC.
Yeah, that's what the buzz was in the gym this morning. Well, my gosh, at least he did recognize and at least he did take responsibility, and because Laken Riley would not be where she is right now if it had not been for the policies of this administration.
I'll say it for you, Mr. Carter. I'll say it for you. She wouldn't be dead if it weren't for his policies. Yep. And I know you're trying to be diplomatic, and I appreciate that. You're a God-fearing man, and I appreciate it. She wouldn't be dead if it weren't for Joe Biden's policies and his just erosion of the southern border. That's what you're trying to say, I think.
Exactly. And it's just very, very frustrating. Sometimes up here it's like beating your head against a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
But, buddy, let me ask you this, because, this is something that is going to be passionate for someone like Tug, who's a veteran, who served this country. And what I saw yesterday, you and all the GOP members, the conservatives, the people that love this country, need to use that moment to say, when Donald Trump tells you they will turn on the citizen, that is the exact picture of turning on an American citizen. The same thing when you forget Laken Riley's name. Marjorie Taylor Greene gave him a pin. He had the pin in his hand. He knew her name. They don't care about the American people. It's about them.
It is, and I sure do appreciate your analogy earlier that, it sounded like what he was saying last night was half the country is good, half the country is bad, and we're right and you're wrong. Look, this is about policy. This is why elections have consequences, because policies have consequences, and they are wrong on policies. That's what I don't think people really understand a lot of times. It is about policies, and I just have to believe that we are right on policy. We feel like the two major the two major things that we should be working on right now are the border and the economy. That's what people are talking about right now, and that's what people want relief with. People vote with their pocketbooks. We know that. We've always known that. And they need help right now. They are hurting.
U.S. Representative Buddy Carter, who was in the chamber last night for the State of the Union address, discussing what he saw in comparison to what we saw. But I want to kind of piggyback on your statement there. He spoke to 50% of the country like he hated them. There was nothing unifying about what he said. And I'll be honest with you, buddy, I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't hate any of the Democrats. I vehemently disagree with them on so many things, but I have no hatred in my heart for them. I feel like he hates me as a person. He hates my values. He hates that I'm a Christian. He hates that I read the Bible. He hates that I like hunting and fishing. He hates all of those things. That's the way I feel that my president feels about me and the people listening to this radio station and you right now.
And I can't disagree with that. You know, I mentioned before, I've been in the gym all morning. I was there at 5 o'clock. I mean, they're Republicans, Democrats. It's the most nonpartisan room and area in this Capitol. And you know, I was sweating just like the Democrats were sweating. And these guys are my friends. I like them. No, I don't agree with them. They don't agree with me. But they don't hate me. I don't hate them. But this president sure did last night give a message that sounded like, I hate you and you should love me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But you know what? They know what they need to do, and that's to paint you, me, Tug, anybody who thinks differently than them as an extremist, as a MAGA extremist. And I think that is what their message is going to be because they lose on everything else.
They do lose on everything else, and they're losing in the battle right now. You know, we had a very important hearing yesterday. I hope that y'all covered that. It was about TikTok. And listen, we had the most phone calls yesterday in this office, and I suspect in many offices that we've ever had. People could not get on their TikTok account until they called their representative. It was unbelievable. Wow. But you know, and here is this president. This president went and opened up a TikTok account. Yeah, we had the FBI, we had the DOJ, we had intelligence yesterday telling us that the Chinese are using this to spy on you, and we passed two bills unanimously, bipartisan, unanimously out of that committee to make ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, divest themselves of the ownership of TikTok.
Look, I found it bizarre that Joe Biden opened that account. I really did, because it's my understanding, as we talked to U.S. Representative Buddy Carter, who represents Georgia's 1st District. He was in the chamber last night for the State of the Union. We've been talking about that. Because you can't have TikTok on a government-issued phone, right? That's not allowed.
That's not allowed. It's not on my phone.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not going to be on my phone.
Well, yeah.
Because I can't get it on my phone. But you know, well, I just got to be careful because a lot of this was.
I get it. No, don't say anything that gets yourself in trouble. But it is.
It's something that makes you think, like, okay, here's the rules for thee, not for me again. When it comes to this administration. And they're using it, obviously, as a campaigning tool. They want to get to the youth. They want to get to the people that are on there. And, of course, the CCP being a part of it. Can I ask you about something here in Georgia? Yesterday, we find out that Rivian is going to pause that project, a project that was a $5 billion project here in the state of Georgia, a project that was supposed to deliver 7,500 jobs. We are on the hook to take care of this. Money has already been sent to them to cover some of the expenses. What's the next step here?
Well, that's a good question. It is certainly disappointing. There's no question about that. We are disappointed to hear this. I got to be quite honest with you. Look, we've got the single largest economic development project in the history of the state in my district, in the 1st Congressional District of Georgia. I could not be happier. I could not be happier that Hyundai is investing $5.5 billion. It's going to create 8,100 jobs, probably that many more jobs in ancillary businesses, that much more of an investment. Just delighted that has happened. I do have concerns, though. I have concerns about the fact that they're going to be manufacturing EVs. Now, I think there's going to be a market for EVs, but what if we get a new administration in and this new administration says, we're not going to do this subsidies. We're not going to go down this path. We're going to have a different approach. We're going to let the consumers decide what they want. Well, as I said now, I still think we're going to be okay with this project because I think there'll be a market for EVs. But I don't think if we get a new administration in and they're not going to mandate that EVs be the only vehicles on the road, then that does concern me. And this the example with Rivian, I'm very concerned about that. I've done the same thing. I'm not faulting the governor. I think he did what he felt like was right, but you take a chance any time like this, and that's why the government picking winners and losers is never good.
Absolutely
The government should not be in the business of picking winners and losers.
Let the free market work. You're exactly right. All right, final question here. Just because I think Rhino and I are a little bit curious about the State of the Union, where were you sitting? Where's your seat as you're watching? I know this is probably a question.
Were you next to MTG where you were able to be like, shh, hold on.
Where were you?
No, I was kind of toward the back. I recently had ankle surgery, so I've got a little scooter that I've been on, so I needed to get somewhere where I could get my scooter out of the way.
Yes.
But I was in the back and not completely in the back, but to the side. But I had a good seat and a good view, and I could see what was going on. But I was sitting right underneath where Jill Biden was. Jill Biden was, and if you know where she was up in the balcony, and I was just right below her.
Oh, okay. Man. I know exactly. You did have.
I wish you would have spitballs at Mitt Romney and Joe Manchin sitting together over there. Boy, if that wasn't a picture.
U.S. Representative Buddy Carter is a man of integrity. He's not shooting.
He's not going to do
it. There's integrity on the phone.
That's for these extremists.
We might do it.
Yeah, the extremists like me, buddy.
Buddy, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you taking the time to call us this morning after such an important event in the United States of America. As disappointing as it was, we're glad that you're there representing the state of Georgia, and we appreciate you always making time for the people here that listen to us in Atlanta and for us, too, to answer our questions. Thank you.
Well, thank y'all. It's always a pleasure.
You betcha, Buddy Carter, U.S. Representative representing Georgia's 1st District, who was at the State of the Union last night, or a campaign rally, as some people would refer to it as.
Yeah, it was definitely a campaign speech.
No question. 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com is their website if you need anything done to your HVAC systems, maintained or a new system altogether. They can help you out. Georgia's second biggest economic project is now on hold. We talked to Buddy Carter about it a little bit. We're going to discuss it more. The Rivian deal on hold next on Xtra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Tug, Rhino, and Front Office Los. We're on the air until 10. Glad that you are here with us. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
We have a professor, of course, from California, of course, Cal State University. This professor is telling us that it might be racist to be a Taylor Swift fan. That from Professor Melina Abdullah, professor of Pan American Studies at Cal State, Black Lives Matter organizer, hip-hop scholar, you name it. Everything is racist, and Jussie Smollett is innocent. Can't make this stuff up.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Xtra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Xtra 106.3 app.
I got to tell you, if you're a business owner, you need to listen up because banks aren't lending. You probably already know that. Because if you're trying to grow your business, then you've probably approached your bank about getting a loan. Maybe you need money to build a new building, buy a new building, buy out your competition. Maybe you want to buy a franchise. add to the franchise that you already have. Man, I admire you as a business owner. It's what makes America great, small businesses. And you took the risk. And you're not getting the help from the government. They're not picking you as a winner or a loser because, they let's be honest, the federal government, they look down on small businesses, but you are the backbone of America, and I know that. So do the people at First Liberty Building and Loan, the Frost family, Brant and his team down in Noonan. They know the importance of small business. They're a small business themselves. So here's what I want you to do. If you're in need of capital, you need to get money to do any of those things that I mentioned. Buy a building, build a building, hire new people, buy out a franchise, buy out a competitor. There was a railroad tie manufacturer who needed $9 million. You don't need that much money. It could start at $250,000. But this company needed $9 million in South Carolina. That's where they were trying to build this facility. Other lenders would not approve them because they were a startup. At First Liberty Building and Loan, they were able to provide the financing to build this facility. It's near completion and will begin production soon. Can you benefit from 10 minutes talking to the Frost family? Could it benefit your business? Could it make your dream come true of propelling your business to bigger and better places because of the capital you need and can't get right now? FirstLibertyGA.com is the website. $250,000 to whatever, $9 million. And it works in Georgia. They work around the country, as you can tell. I was talking about South Carolina. Give them a call. Their number's on the website, FirstLibertyGA.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in every Saturday at 10 a.m. or find it online at thepodcastpark.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Hey fans, Xander from Atlanta Painting Company here, and with spring on the horizon, the home team won't be the only ones painting corners in Atlanta. This spring, save 10% off all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is to protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we are the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company, painters you can trust.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
Your voice, your vote. And this year it matters more than ever. So for the unbiased election coverage that affects your family and your community, trust the voices that matter when it matters the most. Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
If you miss U.S. Representative Buddy Carter, who sat in the chamber last night for the State of the Union address, he was directly below Jill Biden. She was up in the balcony. He was directly below her. If you missed his conversation about what he thought about the State of the Union address, catch it on the Xtra 106.3 app. It will be available there for you to listen on demand.
It must be surreal to sit in that room, be sitting in front of the First Lady, and watch a man lie to you, and you really have to just sit there on your hands, unless you're Marjorie Taylor Greene or a Lauren Boebert, by the way. Really quiet, really calm. Didn't really
probably for the best.
Probably for the best with her, yeah. I would have liked to have been sitting next to her, but that's a different story.
Your girlfriend Aaron ain't gonna like to hear that now. I mean, let's be honest. She ain't gonna be crazy about that statement.
Well, I mean, I've seen other guys sitting next to her in a movie theater. I'm just saying.
Let's not go down that road.
But you know what? I mean, it must be surreal to sit up there and go, we're here for the State of the Union. There's nothing I can clap about. There's nothing that he's telling me that's the truth. It took him 45 minutes to get to the border. He talked about a Snickers bar before he talked about the border.
I was so irritated. I didn't want to watch it. That's the thing. I just get, it's like a little bit of pit in your stomach.
Like a pit, yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to watch this. And I made myself do it because I know we're going to talk about it. I know I need to watch it. I know to be able to react to it. I know to be able to respond to it, have an opinion on it, talk about it. But it ruined my evening to knowing that it was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was sitting back reading. My wife was watching Jeopardy. You know, it was just, I just didn't. My wife's giving me a hard time. She's like, I have finished 2 books in the time that you've started reading and you're only half to 3/4 done with your book. She's just giving me crap, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted to do because I did not want to watch the State of the Union because I knew it was going to irritate me even more than it did. I knew it. And sure enough, I saw him late. Irritated me. I saw him walking into the chamber. Everybody glad handing him. And
you saw him walking into the chamber. It took 2 hours.
Yeah, that was annoying as all get out.
Taking selfies. Like, get up there. You're 10 minutes late. Stop dilly-dallying. Get to the dang podium.
Did you see, and I don't know who this was. There was, as soon as he came into the chamber, the very first person that leaned in to shake his hand and glad hand him was a person that was wearing a Lakin Riley, like it wasn't a button, but it was almost like a pin. It was her. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What you're promoting in protest, knowing that the country is wide open because of the policies of Joe Biden, you're protesting what he's doing. Yet when he comes into the chamber, you're double handshaking with the guy with this big, huge smile. I'm like, well, that didn't sit well with me either, and that set me off. I didn't know who it was, but I have a feeling it had to be a Republican.
I didn't see who it was either, nor do I'm not sure who you were talking of.
I'll pull the video so you can see it.
But, you know, a lot of times what they'll do, and that's why they line up along the edge there, is they want that 1 minute. They grab the hand. They don't let him go, and they say something to him like, don't forget her name. Mention her name. Or they say, don't forget my bill. My bill needs to be passed. You know, it's kind of like they work that room. They work the opportunity that they finally get to be in front of the president, and they throw something in his ear, and I hope that's what that was, and I assume that's what it was. But it is an honor. It should be an honor to be able to, whether it's your party or not, have the opportunity to shake the hand of a president. The problem is,
I don't want to shake his hand.
I don't know if I'd want to shake his hand either. Not the way it is.
No,
I would have I would have shaken Bill Clinton's hand if I was there. You know, I would have. Everybody would. I would smile, be like, "Oh, I'm meeting the president. I don't agree with you. I don't like you that much. But whatever. But this man, I don't think I could shake his hand. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's corrupt. He's crooked, and he doesn't belong in that position."
Did you see what CNN's John King said? This is, I don't agree with much this man says.
Mm-hmm.
He said, this is the 36th one of these for me, talking about the State of the Union. This is John King from CNN, the Clinton News Network, the Communist News Network. So I'm trying to frame it so you understand the perspective it's coming from. This is the 36th one of these for me. Never have I heard one so political. Never heard one that is such a campaign speech. Even those on the left, he's their chief national correspondent. And he saw exactly what you listening right now saw. He saw what I saw and what Rhino saw. He is at a minimum being fair and telling the truth about the State of the Union last night, what it was and what it wasn't. I mean, those clowns on MSNBC and the rest of the clowns on CNN this morning are given the train seal. Greatest thing I've ever seen.
I love it.
It's wonderful, whatever, all the nonsense that goes along with it. And at least one person on the other side has the courage to call the State of the Union address what it is. A partisan speech that was not unifying whatsoever. It was never intended to be unifying whatsoever. He's trying to rally support from the people who typically vote for him. He's trying to make sure that they're going to show up because they're protesting in Minnesota and they're protesting in Michigan. He needs those voters. So what did he do?
Pander.
He fed them red meat and pandered to them,
He
Rhino.
sure did. It was just a pandering campaign speech. And when he said at the end, Tug, the State of the Union is strong, I sure didn't believe him, did you?
I certainly did not either.
I don't think many did.
My checkbook and my wallet would tell me different. And the laws that are being broken and not enforced would tell me different. When we continue on Extra 106.3, we'll talk about more on the State of the Union because there's so many things that we've not discussed. I mean, it was like an hour plus. We'll dive deep into it next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Neil Bortz Report, and a Fox News update, and then more of the Morning Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
There's actually nothing really new in Biden's so-called State of the Union speech last night. Raise taxes on the rich, raise taxes on corporations, who, by the way, don't pay taxes. They collect them and pass them on. Tell Americans that the government wants to make them free from want. How does that work? So while I'm absorbing all that idiocy, here's a little bit of my State of the Union. In America, people can possibly go to jail if they refer to somebody with male genitalia as him. We live in a country where most Americans are quite happy to turn their children over to the government to be educated or indoctrinated. And what are they learning now? If your child is white, they're an oppressor. If they're any other color, they're oppressed. In today's America, colleges and schools are ceasing grading students or giving them tests because, as Ohio State University says, grading students and testing them can lead to violence against teachers. In America, men, athletes who find themselves failures competing against other men can now say, well, actually, I'm a woman, and start competing against women, setting records along the way. We live in an America where adherence to a religion, we're talking the cult of Islam here, if you're not Muslim, then you need to be enslaved or converted or killed. And these people are praised, protected, and promoted by our educated left. We live in an America where the government borrows billions of dollars every year, but can't bring itself to cut spending by 1%. And we live in an America where the people that brought this to us are lined up to be put in power yet again. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Pack your bags and join the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets football team in Dublin, Ireland as Toe meets leather to kick off the 2024 football season in Dublin. The Aer Lingus College Football Classic will feature your Yellow Jackets versus the Florida State Seminoles in a special Week 0 matchup on August 24th, 2024. Don't miss this unique opportunity to visit one of the world's most popular travel destinations while cheering on the Jackets on a global stage. For travel packages, tickets, and more information, go to gt2ireland.com. Sting 'em.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
26 million protested in 2020 on behalf of a criminal who died while resisting arrest with a fatal dose of fentanyl in his system. How many will march for Laken Riley? Will there be streets named after her? Will she have her own televised funeral? Will they be kneeling for her in Congress? No. She was a white nursing student, had no criminal record, and her killer was a non-white illegal alien let in by Joe Biden.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
More hiring than expected. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is in the jobs report just out.
The job market created 275,000 new jobs last month. That's about 75,000 more than expected.
However, January's hiring was revised down 129,000 less than first thought.
The unemployment rate rose to 3.9% in February. That breaks a 3-month streak at 3.7%.
That's Fox's Ginny Casola. Last night, President Biden took credit for record job growth.
I inherited economies on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world.
Though a majority of Americans disapprove of his economic policies, in a State of the Union address, he says he needs to be a wake-up call.
Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today.
13 times he referenced his likely rematch rival, though never mentioning former President Trump by name, on everything from Russia to January 6th to abortion rights.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it.
Republicans booed the president when he brought up the illegal immigration crisis.
We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it.
They even goaded the president to bring up Laken Riley by name. The Georgia nursing student, her alleged killer, is in the U.S. illegally.
To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
Now another grieving father heckled the president. Stephen Nakui shouted about his son among the 13 U.S. troops killed in a suicide bombing during the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Capitol Police removed Nakui and arrested him. Former President Trump was reacting in real time to the Biden speech on Truth Social, calling it angry and polarizing, then saying in a video,
Biden has actively aided and abetted the importation of millions and millions of illegal alien migrants and resettle them into your communities.
America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, a lot of you know that I learned how to use a firearm when I was 11 years old. I've been practicing my entire life, and people ask me all the time, Hannity, what kind of gun should I get? Well, now I'm telling them, go to Henry Repeating Arms. And I always tell them to start just by going to their website, henryusa.com. You're going to get a free catalog. Now, Henry has over 200 models of rifles and shotguns to choose from. They're made with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen, and you don't beat their performance. Every one I had was accurate right out of the box and reliable ever since. Their company motto is made in America or not made at all. They have a lifetime warranty, family-owned business, and these folks are true patriots who give back to our military, our vets, our first responders, sick kids, you name it. They support gun safety, and they support our Second Amendment. So if you're in the market for a high-quality, American-made firearm, just go to henryusa.com. You get their free catalog, list of dealers, and free decals, henryusa.com. You'll love this company.
Grow your business organically with Atlanta's fastest growing news and talk station, Extra 106.3. Get started today by emailing sales@xtra1063.com.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We don't get to travel much because we can't afford to travel much. The economy, I know Joe Biden last night said it's great. Your pocketbook, your wallet tells you different.
Except for Snickers bars.
Better. Yes, right. Right. Which I love.
The economy's great, except for Snickers bars.
Too.
The Cookie Monster's so upset he can't get his cookies.
No, seriously. It's called shrinkflation. It's shrinkflation. Seriously.
Oh, my Lord.
Hey, I'm holding up a button right now that says Lincoln Riley. No, it doesn't.
Oh, wait. Oh, and then Elon Omar tweeting out, let me be clear, no human being is illegal.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Uh-huh.
They're doing things illegally. They're breaking the law. That is illegal.
Yeah.
So are you illegal for being bored? No. But are you breaking the laws Yes, and that is illegal, Ilhan Omar. Good Lord, she drives me insane.
Look, today is Angry Tug.
I don't mean for it to be. I don't want to be Angry Tug.
No, I know. But you know what? I mean, it just builds up over time. I mean, there's a reason why we are so angry. There's a reason why there's a movement. We've been lied to and lied to and lied to. And maybe we do have to give a little bit of credit to social media, more importantly to Elon Musk and free speech. But the fact that we can sit here and community note everything or fact check everything, it's a much easier world for us to live in. But then they still continue to lie, and you just sit there. Yeah, you have every right. We saw a American get arrested for speaking out against somebody that they don't believe, and somebody else that cost the life of their child. That person got arrested yesterday on TV.
I'm looking at a picture of him outside the chamber. And he's got his hands behind his back because he's handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, I assume, Secret Service or Capitol Police all around him. And this is the thing. I don't want to be angry guy. I don't want to be the old angry white guy. It's such a stereotype. I don't want to be that. But if you look at the State of the Union last night, of all the crap that was said, and there was nothing unifying about it, even though the liberal media, the mainstream media, as Rush would have called them, says, oh, this is going to be such a great speech, unifying. He's going to bring people over that would be voting or could have been voting for Nikki Haley, and he's going to bring them over to the Democrat side. No, that's not what I saw. I saw a man that was on a stump speech saying that people like me, people like Rhino, people like Los, people like you listening now are the problem. 50% of the country is the problem. And that got under my skin. Don't get me wrong. I dreaded watching every second of it, but I did. And then the thing that pissed me off was when Steve Nakui was arrested. The only person that put up any protest that got arrested. The people out in front of the Capitol building, the one that they erected the 12-foot fence for, none of those were arrested that I know of, not heard anything. The people interrupting in the chamber, whether for or against Joe Biden, all of them get a pass. The Gold Star dad, whose son died in Afghanistan in a botched departure of our military, that's the person Joe Biden chooses to arrest. That is the most disgraceful thing that happened last night. It was more disgraceful than anything that was said, any lie that was perpetrated. It was disgraceful, and it's the saddest thing I've ever seen on national television in front of the nation. That was it.
What if he were to interrupt an official proceeding by pulling like a fire alarm or something? Like
Exactly.
Then would he deserve to be arrested?
Yeah.
Would
Probably
he get
not. Probably not, because we've seen that happen and nothing happened to that person.
We watched Jamal Bowman interrupt a vote on one of the most important votes that we had. Not a State of the Union, not where a man was standing on a stage lying to us. Pull a fire alarm, obstruct official proceedings, and that man got a little slap on the wrist and even maybe a little celebration that, of course, just like a Democrat wants, he got away with crime. This man is emotional because he doesn't have a son because of the man that's standing up there lying to him. And he speaks up about it, and you weaponize your government agency against that man and have him arrested. If you wanted to remove him from the room and say, hey, I understand. I can't even imagine what it's like to lose your son. I can't even imagine what it's like to sit there and face the man who was responsible for the death of your son. But please, go back in there, calm down. We'll get you a private one-on-one with this man so that he can say he's sorry. Something. You don't arrest that man.
He shouted Abbygate. He shouted 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines, which is where his son served. Capitol Police escorted him out of the chamber about 10:15, took him into custody. Not anybody else but a Gold Star father arrested, a man whose son gave his life for you and I and this country, and President Biden didn't have the courage to say, do not arrest that man. He didn't have the courage, or he didn't care enough to say, let him speak, or anything.
He probably didn't even recall. He probably had no idea what that man was talking about. Let's be honest.
Anything. Yeah, maybe so. He could have done anything.
Sure.
Had he been smart, which he's not, had he been smart, he would have said, do not arrest that man, and then kept on with his speech. And look, they could have escorted him out. No, of course he doesn't.
He cares about Joe.
But he says America's safer today than when he took office. I would ask the parents of Lake and Riley, not Lincoln Riley, but Lake and Riley, if that's the case. Do they feel like America's safer today? Because I don't.
100,000 people who lost a member of their family to fentanyl overdose feel like we're safer? Do any of the people up in New York feel safer today? Because I think the National Guard is going to be on the subways there. Are you telling me that we had to put the National Guard on the subway during Trump's administration? No! We haven't had to do any of these things. This country was better off 4 years ago. Katie Britt, if there's one thing that she said yesterday, ask yourselves, as you're sitting around with your family, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And be honest about it, because you weren't.
No, of course not.
Nobody was.
Of course not. Nobody was.
And it's going to get worse. This is the path you want to. That idiot. Oh, God, I feel bad. I don't want to say he's an idiot. That cognitively challenged man standing up there, that's what you want for the next 4 years? If you're a Democrat and you vote for that basic meat package, because there's nothing else, there's no other substance inside that body as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to vote for him, you people deserve what you get. You deserve all the crime. You deserve everything you get, including being bankrupt, being thrown out of your house, and allowing the government to take everything from you.
Even many on the left are looking at this speech. We talked about it last hour, and they called it a campaign rally. Even the folks on the left, even the folks at CNN, of course we saw it as that because we're in the target of everybody that he despises. I brought that up with Buddy Carter, who was on with us last hour. If you missed that, you can go back and listen to it on the Extra 106.3 app. It's always available there. All of our content is. Listen to it on your own time. But I told Buddy, I was like, I feel like the man hates me and everything that I represent. I don't own a MAGA hat. I don't own a T-shirt. I've never been to a Trump rally. Rhino's going to one on Saturday.
I sure am.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. You should go. No. I think it's great.
Yeah, I got to cover it.
I've never been to a Trump rally, and I will likely never go to a Trump rally. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not where I know what I feel. I know what I believe, and I don't need to go to a rally to be enthusiastic. To be encouraged to be enthusiastic about it. Look, I'm already voting for the man. It's done deal, right? And yet, though I don't own any of those pieces of clothing, because I'm a man that shares my Christian faith, I'm a broken sinner. I drink too much, cuss too much. I say it all the time, man. I am not the perfect Christian by any means. There's not one that exists, if you know the good book, but you know what I'm saying. But it's people like me that he calls a danger to democracy. I am a danger to democracy. That breaks my heart to think that the President of the United States thinks that about me. It breaks my heart. I served the nation 4 years. I'm proud of my service. Both my grandfathers, World War II veterans. I have so many veterans in my family. And all of us, because they feel the same way I do, Rhino, we're all dangers to democracy, according to Joe Biden. That's what he shared with the nation last night.
He wants red flag laws. He wants you not to be able to buy a gun. They want to take away every opportunity you have to purchase a gun and protect your family. And in the meantime, they are destroying our military, arresting Gold Star fathers. It's all right there. It's all right there in front of our face. We see it every single day. But even some of our people that I don't want to call them ours because they're part of the uniparty, they're the establishment. When you see Mitt Romney and Joe Manchin sitting together, you know that's an issue. When you see the way that both sides were still divided, we have a big, big problem in this country and we're heading down the wrong path. And they think 4 more years of this is good. The man can't stand up there for 4 years. The man couldn't stand up there all night. They had to drug him to keep him up there. Donald Trump said, hey, give him credit. Give him credit. he got through it. He's still breathing, and they didn't carry him out in a straitjacket. Other than that, he didn't do a very good job. But he's right. It looked like that man had no business. He stumbled. He stumbled through things. He even said at one point, Tug, I texted you about it last night, when he sat and said, we're going to go ahead, even though most Americans voted against this, we're giving away, we're doing that. And I think it was about Ukraine and the funding for the Ukraine in the bill. That's what they think. Even though he knew the truth, most Americans voted against it, we're still going to not listen to you and go ahead with it.
You listening right now, Rhino, me, we're all threats to democracy. Democracy's under attack.
Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas.
You and I. That's who he's talking about.
Of course.
He's talking about me and you, Rhino. He's talking about you listening right now.
Yep.
We're the domestic terrorists.
What he said.
That's the reason they set up the DSAC that we talked about earlier, where they can track the things that you buy at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop. They are calling you the problem. They're calling me and you, Rhino, the problem. You listening. You are the problem. I don't think I've ever heard in my life a president point the finger at you and I and say 50% of America is the problem. You're the danger.
Yeah. And, even after that cut, he went on and said it once again. Threats domestically and abroad. That we are a threat. Yeah, we are. We are a threat. I mean, in all truth, we're a threat to them holding power. We're a threat to what they want in communism and socialism. We're not a threat to democracy. The only threat to democracy is the fact that we have someone who is weaponizing the government against their political opponent. They are doing whatever they can to financially take everything that his family and he has earned with no victims. They're taking his money. They're shutting him down. That's election interference. That's a threat to democracy. It's not because people have differing opinions. That's not a threat to democracy. It's not because we have the right as American citizens to question how our vote was counted and if our vote was counted. That's not a threat to democracy.
I want you to hear. Joe, do we have the cut of the lady screaming at her TV? There was a lady, and this was tweeted out by Queen Petty Lex.
Oh, what's up, Queen Petty Lex?
And it just says, I can't. Hashtag State of the Union. Hashtag State of Confusion. Hashtag Queen Petty Lex. Listening to her hollering at her TV.
So if you know that these is paying the immigrants $8,000 to get across the border, then why the hold on, bring your ass back in this damn camera. Bring your ass back in this camera, Mr. Biden. Get your ass back in this camera. Girl, sit your ass down with your goofy looking ass wig. I'm sick of these damn people. This man just sat up here and said that they paying these people $8,000 just to get in our country, and if they can get in, they can do whatever the they do. So if y'all know this, get your ass back on the camera. Why the y'all letting them in here and then giving them $8,000, huh, Mr. Biden? Sick of these.
Dude, she is angry.
So
that woman is angry, and her you can just see the expression. Like, it sounds almost comical because she's so upset and she's so animated. She ain't joking. This woman is furious.
One thing I know about comedy, one thing I know about when we find something funny, it's the truth in what someone's saying that makes us either laugh hysterically or even uncomfortably laugh. And I've seen this woman before get upset, and she was a Democrat. I mean, she was all in on everything, and then the red pill happened when the migration system that Biden talks about and the money they have to give these migrants, or nobody's illegal, right? So we have to come up with nice names for them. And this is why I continue to say, and this is why I saw this tide turning so early, because the people, when it came to COVID, that were standing up against that, they were threatened the fact that hey, Dr. Fauci, we need you to have a black someone come with you to talk to the black community and offer them a bribe to take this. And it backfired on them. Then they go, whoa, why are they trying to stick us with this? Why are they telling us we're priority number one and we should get this shot first? That's very confusing to a lot of those the groups. Then you go and you weaponize a government against a political opponent. They all saw it. And now you're giving migrants free money. I'm glad that she sees this. And you know what? She's not the only one. And that's why when she says this, so many people are sharing it, and they happen to be black, because it's funny because it's true.
Well, and she's a comedian. I mean, she is.
Yeah.
Like, that's her profession.
Sure.
But she's not trying to hide the fact that she's furious about what's happening in her country. And she's doing it in a funny way, but she uses comedy as a tool to say, here's what is on my mind, which so many comedians do and do very well, as she did. CNN, we told you about earlier, John King saying he's never seen such a campaign rally in 36 years of covering the State of the Union. Jake Tapper, even Jake Tapper at CNN is admitting that the speech was divisive. I've never heard a State of the Union address with so many references to a political opponent. Everybody saw what you saw. Everybody saw what I saw. Everybody saw what Rhino saw. It's not anything that can be confused. Everybody saw the same thing. Not everybody will admit it, Rhino.
Well, yeah.
Not everybody. But I applaud the ones that do. Yeah. I applaud them because they are at least being truthful.
What is the point of them standing up for this man and continuing down the path of spreading his lies? Like, seriously, what do these news media outlets get out of this?
Well, I think protection. I think they're not going to be access 100%.
That's all they care about.
That's probably it more than anything, because they know they can make money off of it. But I think all of them believe what Biden is spouting. I think the mainstream media, by and large, believes everything that he's spouting. There's a handful of things that they probably don't agree with him on.
Yeah.
But they're never going to talk about that stuff. Or 99.9% of the time they won't. Proud of Jake Tapper. Give him credit. Yep. Proud of John King. CNN. Give him credit. 9 a.m. hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, the Southeast premier home exterior solution. Quality and precision you can rely on for over 20 years here in Atlanta. Visit southernexteriors.co, the website, to get the best exterior service for your home, southernexteriors.co. When we come back, Georgia State Senator Houston Gaines joins us on Extra 106.3.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 106.3. We're at XTRA 106.3 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 106.3 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Hey there, it's Janelle King, host of The Janelle King Show, right here on Extra 106.3 FM, where we are unafraid and unapologetic. We explore the topics that matter the most. You can catch us on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and encore episode on Sundays at 9 a.m. And catch up on past episodes by going to the podcast park right here at Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts every single Tuesday. Until then, stay unafraid, stay unapologetic, and never stop seeking the truth.
I think it's time to get rid of that old, ugly garage door.
Get rid of it? All it needs is a quick repair. Where's my duct tape and WD-40?
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors, and let us be the ones to tell you if you need a repair or a replacement. If you have a wooden or uninsulated steel door, a replacement will always pay for itself with energy savings. But if your door is insulated and not very old, put down the duct tape and let us come out to service your door the right way. Head to allfourseasonsgarages.com or give us a call today.
Central Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know the start of the new season is the perfect time to ensure your home's comfort. Don't wait like most people do to have your HVAC system serviced. Your home should have maintenance twice a year. Maintenance helps keep your system running at peak efficiency and extends the life of your equipment. So turn to Atlanta's Carrier experts for your system's maintenance at 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com. With Central, you get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. Plus, you know what's going to be here before you know it? The heat. It's allergy season, and Central Heating and Air can fix what what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air cleaners, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation, locally owned and operated HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. That's centralheat.com.
Discover wants everyone to feel special with 24/7 customer service as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
Don't miss the Atlanta Mushroom Festival, Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day at Park Tavern in Piedmont Park. Beginning at 12 p.m. and ending at 7 p.m., this dog and family-friendly event features educational speakers, live music, and over 35 mushroom-themed vendors. Tickets are free with email registration or $10 for Comfort VIP, which directly supports the nonprofit festival. For more information, visit AtlantaMushroomFestival.com or Atlanta Mushroom Festival on all social platforms.
It's a mad world out there, but one thing is certain, everyone is trying to market something. So tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. to the Marketing Madmen, who, along with a variety of industry expert guests, can help you make sense of it all. Whether you own a business and want tips to scale, or are a fan of the finer things in life and want to know how restaurants, golf courses, and wine companies try to sell you stuff, the Marketing Madmen is your ultimate destination for all things marketing. Tune in right here on Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 3 p.m. or search online for more content. Join the madness with the Marketing Madmen.
March is the month of marriage, and we're celebrating at Solomon Brothers Jewelers with our annual Marry Me March event. Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon from Solomon Brothers Jewelers, and we are here to help couples tie the knot this month with engagement rings and wedding bands at this year's best prices. All this month, we are offering savings of up to 60% off rings and wedding bands from our top designs like halos, the hidden halo, single shared prong, double shared prong, and every design you can imagine in our store. Choose from our selection of hundreds of beautiful rings in every budget or hand design the ring of their dreams. Remember, no matter the price, you'll find something nice. So don't miss our Marry Me March event going on all this month and save up to 60% off engagement rings and wedding bands. Visit us today in any of our 3 showrooms on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and now in Peachtree City. Or shop online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
Wake up with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 Atlanta.
Tug Rhino in front office Losa on the Morning Extra, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. So proud to have Houston Gaines on with us, Georgia State Representative. Houston, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being up early with us and talking to the people that you represent here in the state of Georgia. I want to start with the State of the Union last night because something that's near and dear to your heart, which is Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines, what am I saying? Laken Riley. When her name came up at the State of the Union last night and the way that it was bounced around and the President of the United States of America couldn't get it right, it's one thing for me to bumble up a name, but the President in front of the nation, that's a different thing altogether. What was your reaction to his presentation?
Well, thanks for having me this morning. I did suffer through watching the State of the Union last night, and certainly it was I thought a disaster for the president. But, it's somebody who's born and raised in Athens. I've lived in Athens my entire life and love the University of Georgia, love the Athens community. What we've been through has just been tragic, and first and foremost, the Laken Riley's family. I mean, I just feel so awful for that family and what they've had to experience and really the failures in our system, both at the federal level. Obviously, the southern border has been a disaster with what Biden's done over the last three years, and then locally, we've got all sorts of issues, which I'm sure we'll get into. But certainly, watching that State of the Union last night, it was just disappointing to see the president's response, and there are things that can be done immediately to try to secure the southern border. And obviously we've got issues at the local level that again, I'm sure we'll get into. And we're working at the state level to try to step in when you've got a federal government that's failed to do its job. And you got local governments like we have in Athens that have implemented policies that have made our community more susceptible to tragedy.
Houston Gaines joining us here on the Morning Extra. I expect this in New York. I expect this in California. I expect it in Oregon and Seattle. I don't expect to have rogue and progressive DAs not doing their job here in the state of Georgia. I was glad when Chris Carr became the Attorney General because, Jen Jordan at that time said, we will not follow any of the laws that are out there on the books. Now is the time to recall Deborah Gonzalez, and I know Safer Georgia has launched an effort. Talk about what you need to do and what the citizens need to do to make sure they have a DA that's actually going to prosecute crime.
Well, we've got to get rid of Deborah Gonzalez, and certainly over the last couple of weeks, Athens has been in the spotlight. We've heard a lot of folks around the country that have talked about the issues with our district attorney. But this is something that that we've known in our community for several years how much of a problem we have with Deborah Gonzalez, and the state level, we worked on legislation. We passed it just actually earlier this week that'll go to the governor's desk, and the governor has been extremely supportive of making sure we have oversight for DAs who aren't doing their jobs. And so we will have a prosecuting attorney's qualifications commission that would have the ability to remove or suspend DAs who fail to uphold their oath and fail to do their job. Certainly, I think Deborah Gonzalez fits that category. We also have the ballot box this November, and Safer Georgia is a group of citizens that just stepped up and said we're fed up with what's happening in Athens, Clark County, and Oconee counties, and having a DA that has let violent criminals back on the streets repeatedly, failed to convict individuals in our community who've done really, really awful things. I'll tell you, just last week we had a case that a 14-year-old girl who had been raped, a case Deborah Gonzalez dismissed a year ago. She dismissed the case a year ago. For the first time in Georgia history, a district attorney violated Marcy's law, which is victims' ability to know what is happening with their case. The district attorney's office did not inform the victim that they had dismissed the charges. Fortunately, that was able to be re-indicted, and the district attorney next door in Walton County, Randy McGinley, who is just a superstar DA, he came in, took the case. They had the trial last week, and a 4-day trial. After 45 minutes, the jury convicted the individual on all charges, put him away for life plus 50 years. This is somebody on the exact same charges our district attorney had dropped the case a year ago, someone who had raped a 14-year-old. It's awful what has happened in our community. When you look at violent criminals who are back on the streets, you've probably seen the ad that Safer Georgia put out just last week. But visiting, there's two fathers of two young women who were tragically killed. One young woman was killed by a drunk driver. That individual was not convicted by our DA. Another individual, another young woman who killed herself, and because the lack of prosecution of a horrific person who was taking pictures and videos of her unknown to her and putting them on the internet. These are the kind of individuals that our DA has failed to prosecute. She's also just chosen not to prosecute certain laws. If she doesn't like them, she just doesn't prosecute them. And she put that out on day one that she was elected to office. And so, we're Safer Georgia, and citizens in our community are stepping up to say we can't afford 4 more years of Deborah Gonzalez. And so I'm pleased with the effort that has been pulled together by a lot of folks in our community. And certainly we're going to be working hard towards November to make sure she's not reelected.
What did it tell you when she decided, though, at that time that she had to bring someone else in? As a DA, she had to bring someone else in to prosecute this. Why, in your mind, did she do that?
Well, even so, and obviously it's on the Riley case. Ms. Gonzalez even knew she wasn't up for the task. She only has 3 assistant district attorneys left in that office. Over the course of 3 years, she's had more than 35 people resign, over 200% turnover. She only has a few people left in that office because everybody's left. So by getting the prosecuting attorney's council to come in and prosecute the case, which I am glad that occurred, and Sheila Ross will be prosecuting the case from outside, as I understand it, is somebody who is more than qualified to do that job. But Ms. Gonzalez, by punting the case, said even she knew she wasn't up for the job. My sincere hope is she gives the independence necessary to prosecute it, including allowing Ms. Ross to seek the death penalty in that case. When Gonzalez was elected on day one, she said, one, she would never seek the death penalty. She said she would take into account the collateral consequences to undocumented defendants when charging. She also put out a list of other, in a day one memo of other crimes she just wouldn't prosecute. This is the type of individual that is prosecuting the vast majority of cases in Clark and Oconee counties. And it's, but to your point on this case, she even admitted she wasn't up for the challenge and couldn't handle the case.
I actually asked, as we talked to Houston Gaines, Georgia State Representative, I asked a lawyer friend of mine who is very close with our office, does work at Atlanta and Athens a whole lot, about that very same thing. Why wouldn't she prosecute it? He said, first, she's a terrible lawyer. Second, heavily criticized by local lawyers. And is probably going to, somebody's going to try to seek the death penalty, and she has no desire to do that. It is well known, Houston, that this is what she is. Do you believe, because of what has happened with the local lawyers in town that feel that way about her, obviously a big portion of Athens feels that way about her, do you think that she will either A, be recalled or voted out of office? Do you have faith in that?
I do. I have faith that voters are going to come out in November and elect a new district attorney. I also know that it's not going to be a cakewalk to defeat her. I mean, I think that there are a lot of progressives in Athens that that she does have supporters, but folks that are in the middle and on the right, and there's also a lot of fed up, even liberal lawyers that I've talked to. I mean, these are some liberal lawyers that have even called me criminal defense lawyers, who they're scared that what they're seeing out of the DA's office is pretty bad when you got liberal criminal defense lawyers calling concerned about the district attorney, because they have to live in the community too and see what's happened. So I have confidence that in Clark and Oconee counties we're going to get a new DA this November when the election rolls around. Obviously, Deborah qualified earlier this week. I had hoped she wouldn't even qualify. She really, I'm surprised she feels that anybody would want to vote for her ever again. But she did qualify on Monday. And then there's an independent candidate who's gathering signatures to be on the ballot this November to challenge her, and so I'm confident that voters in the Western Judicial Circuit will elect a new DA this November.
Yeah, let's hope so. Houston Gaines joining us here on the Morning Extra. Let's talk about crossover day, some of the bills that we saw yesterday. I think we saw the spending plan for fiscal 2025 go through. Looks like a good bill that we can go ahead and depend the fact that we're going to pay teachers. We're going to pay our police department. And more importantly, the most important thing I thought I saw in that bill that you guys passed yesterday and sent to the Senate was that we actually have security in our schools for our children.
Hey, man, I think it was a really good budget. To your point, it is going to invest heavily in keeping our community safe across this state, with both raises for our law enforcement officers. And, to your point, we're going to, and the governor's really led on making sure that we give school security grants. We've done this multiple times over the last several years, but now we're putting in the budget permanently, so schools can count on it. Every school building in the state will get $45,000 that can be used for school resource officers, for other security efforts in those schools to make sure we keep our schools safe. So I think this budget is a really good one that invests in our priorities, and particularly law enforcement. I think when we look at the issues, that when I think of the issues that are most important, I certainly think public safety. We also passed last week, some really important immigration legislation, and we passed the Prosecuting Attorney's Qualifications Commission. I mentioned that's also funded in the budget. So there's, I believe this is a really good budget that puts our priorities in the right place, and also is a conservative budget. Georgia has a really strong surplus that shows we've budgeted conservatively. We've been able to cut taxes. We're doing that again this year, and certainly that's something I expect the General Assembly to continue to focus on, is cutting taxes and spending conservatively.
Yeah, I hope so, and that's something that we certainly applaud here as we talk to Houston Gaines, Georgia State Representative, on the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los. I want to ask you about one big story this morning, and it is the Rivian story. You talk about fiscal, the fiscal responsibility of the state of Georgia, and this company is given all these tax breaks, and we're investing heavily in EV, and I don't think we're allowing the free market to work. It scares me that we are anchoring at least a portion of our economy to this idea of electric vehicles, which people don't want. People aren't buying. I'm not saying in the future they won't, but at this point they're not, and they're actually seemingly going against it altogether. Then you have Rivian saying, you know what, we're pulling out. We're going to put a pause on this. We're just going to build these up in Illinois at our plant that's already there. Does it frighten you to throw out these big incentives for these companies? Does it frighten you anchoring our economy to electric vehicles when we're not sure it's viable? What's your takeaway on this story?
Sure. Well, it was certainly a surprise to me when I saw that headline yesterday, and working to kind of get the details on exactly. One, I know the state has certainly invested in this project, and so it's really disappointing to hear that Rivian is wavering. I've not been able to get confirmation if they're for sure no longer coming, or if it's just a temporary step back. But it's really disappointing, and certainly that Georgia has invested in that project. And if they do back out of the project, certainly it's a mega site that the state, I'm confident, will actively work to bring somebody to, because there has been a lot of money already put into that, which is something obviously we need to take a hard look at, is those funds and the incentives that were placed in that specific situation, because certainly it's a massive disappointment to hear Rivian wavering on that commitment.
But does it concern you that we're anchoring our economy, or at least a piece of it, to electric vehicles, and it's like the government's picking winners and losers, and right now we seem to be picking the losers? Does that concern you like it does me?
Well, one of the things I have talked to a lot of folks is, have talked to a lot of auto dealers in my community. Obviously, I'm down the road in Athens and have visited with a number of auto dealers, and certainly I think they would tell you that the EV is maybe a few years beyond what the media might like to tell you that it's here today. But I do think that we're many years away from EV just taking over. That's for sure. Yeah. So it concerns me. I think we're marching down the wrong path of this. I really do, and I hope you take that to heart. I hope Governor Kemp takes that to heart, and I feel like the rest of the state of Georgia is looking at Georgia right now, this morning, as they read this story, going, "See, I told you so. We knew this wasn't. This is not ready for prime time." That's the way it feels to me. But Houston, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you
so much,
and we hope to have you on again real soon. Thank you for your work over in Athens.
Would love to. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, of course.
Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. When we come back, we'll kind of break down some of Houston's answers, and we'll also talk about John Kerry and the fact that he said the Russian invasion of Ukraine wouldn't be so bad if Russia and Moscow were a little more focused on climate change. What? Yeah, I know. I had the same response. I had the same reaction. We'll talk about that, too, as we wrap up the show on a Friday here on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Even if the federal government says you have to be a citizen to vote in a federal election, state elections can change their laws. We know municipal and city elections allow them to vote right now all over the place.
This is all about crushing and crashing the system. Basically, what they're doing now is they're putting on the public dole all these illegal invaders. And now they're putting their on American citizen workers. Yeah. They're putting them on the public dole with unemployment. Pretty much everybody's going to be be waiting for the government to hand in their check every week, and that will crash the system, and then they can bring in another one to replace it, like socialism. This is all part of the plan to crash everything.
And, of course, the bottom line is, if this all happens, which it is, there's no way that they would ever vote for a Republican like Donald Trump to stop it.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Front Office Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Steel Power Equipment. Steel Power Equipment, it's the #1 selling brand of gasoline-powered handheld outdoor power equipment in America. Did you know that? #1 in America. And Atlanta's largest steel dealer is Howard Brothers. Howard Brothers is still family-owned and independently run. When you go into Howard Brothers, you're going to know and talk to a staff that knows what they're talking about when it comes to equipment. They've had team members there who've been working at Howard Brothers for 20-plus years. They know their stuff. Whatever you need for your yard this year, Howard Brothers has the steel equipment for you. You can be the envy of the entire neighborhood with that steel power equipment. Howard Brothers sells and services steel equipment in their stores in Alpharetta, Athens, Dorval, Duluth, Lula, and Oakwood. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with steel and Howard Brothers.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-208-5959. That's 1-800-208-5959. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-208-5959. That's 1-800-208-5959. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Is this the year you want to grow your business? Do you want to expand your team? Build a new office? Hey, it's Tug, and I want to tell you about First Liberty Building and Loan. Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you're dealing with a new person? You won't have to with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they can help you too. They know the patterns, they know the ebbs and flows, and they know business. Now the Frost family wants to know you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Buying a building, building a building, buying a franchise, or expanding. Reach out and spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. By the way, if you're a young banker and you want to work with a team that's faith-friendly with a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to First Liberty Building and Loan at FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
The Morning Extra. Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer Show, Jesse Kelly, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson. The biggest lineup of conservative voices in the South are on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Thank you so much for being here all morning long. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts on the State of the Union address because that's been the driving conversation of the morning. And it's been one of those. It's been a powerful morning, man. There's just a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling behind the people listening and what they saw. Rhino, what you and I saw. It's been a heavy morning, but it's been a good morning.
Yeah, it has. But, I think a lot of people woke up today and half the country, I'd say
Horse
probably
Island extremists.
half of you are extremists. And I think he mentioned 3/4 of you in this because I think there are 3/4 of the people that were watching that yesterday were offended by that and the State of the Union in general because we never really talked about the State of the Union being good. And we've seen this, again, weaponization. And when we just talked to Houston Gaines about the weaponization, we have a DA who's not doing their job.
Right.
I would really capitalize on a lot of this. Number one, if I was going to run against these DAs, here's what you need to do. You need to take pictures of our National Guard standing in a subway in New York and say, we don't want to have to put our army in a subway. We'd rather have them at the border protecting you. Let's keep them at the border so they don't get to our subways. We have to draw the comparisons of what's happening in Fulton County with DA Fonnie Willis and in Athens now. These are two of the biggest stories all around the country. And it's right here again because of Tug in Georgia that we have two in the only two blue cities, really, and maybe Macon, but we could probably figure that out in Savannah a little bit. But think about that. The rest of Georgia, which is red, we don't have the problems that we have in the two places that we have DAs that happen to be Democrats. This is a message we need to spread. We shouldn't have to hire the National Guard to do the job of our local police. We should have the police that didn't walk off the job because of Democrats.
And when Donald Trump said he was going to put troops at the border, which 69% of Americans support militarizing the southern border to get it corrected, that was it was the most racist. It was the most awful. It was the worst ever. And then now Kathy Hochul in New York is doing exactly the same thing. And I don't hear a word, not a peep out of anyone. 9 a.m.
Right.
is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, the Southeast premier home exterior solution, quality and precision. You can rely on them for over 20 years. Visit southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co. It's freaking crazy.
How messed up is that?
Exactly.
Like
I hate pointing out the hypocrisy, but
it is funny you just said that. But think about it. They're okay. They're not okay with the National Guard holding weapons on illegals, on criminals. But yeah, you want to hold the weapons on us? You want to go through our stuff as American citizens? Right. Yes, you can weaponize against us, just not people who are breaking the law. How ridiculous is the Democrat Party?
Completely. Next story, just quickly.
Let's have fun.
Well, we got one more I want to get to just because I talked about it. John Kerry said the invasion of Ukraine by Russia wouldn't be all that bad if Moscow was more focused on climate change. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If they would have went
to paper straws, nothing would have happened.
It would have been just fine. Everybody would have been just fine. You dumbass. Exactly right. So I wanted to get that out because we talked about it. Go look it up. It's the dumbest thing you'll ever hear.
Oh, that's so dumb.
It is dumb. You're exactly right. And then the story that we wanted to end on that we've not had time to talk about all day, I think it's in April. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be on Netflix. You'll be able to rent it.
Yep.
57-year-old Iron Mike Tyson going to take on 27-year-old influencer. I kind of know who he is, not really. Jake Paul. Yeah, annoyance. Mike Tyson is going to beat that man to a bloody
You think
pulp.
so?
It is going to be one of those. Remember when Mike Tyson you would pay for the pay-per-view? This is what happened when I was in the Navy up in Virginia.
Yeah.
All of us pitched in our money and we bought the pay-per-view and it was Tyson versus somebody and I forget who it was. 2 seconds into the fight, it was over.
Oh, I don't remember which tomato can that was, but I was actually in Atlantic City for the Spinks fight, which lasted 91 seconds. And my uncle, who, my family got seats, and my grandfather at that time was friends with Joe Louis and a lot of others, and Joe Frazier. And Joe Frazier's son actually got us ringside seats. My uncle said, "I'm going to go get you a soda, little boy." And I said, "All right." And he came back and the fight was over. I don't know why he left at that point knowing Tyson. There's no way Jake Paul can stand with this man.
Mike Tyson is a national treasure. He's crazy. He's off the rails, but he's one of the funniest people in the world. He may be one of the most important athletes in the last 25, 30, 40 years.
Talk about the government weaponizing against someone. That poor man went to jail for something he never did.
Remember this when he was on The Hangover?
Mike Tyson? It's my favorite part coming up right now. I can feel it coming.
Oh, is Mike Tyson singing it? Joe had me nervous because
You were waiting for the curse word.
I was waiting because when he hits Allen, remember when Mike Tyson punches Allen and knocks him out? And he's like, "What are you doing?" Wait, he was like, "Oh, F!
Yeah.
What are you doing?" That's what I was scared of.
I just wanted him singing, "I can feel it coming in the air."
He, when I was over at 790 The Zone a long time ago, Jamal Anderson, the running back for the Atlanta Falcons, his father was actually Mike Tyson's bodyguard. And I had just started working with Deion Sanders and Jamie Dukes on their show at night, and the phone rings. It's Tyson. I pick it up. I think it's someone pretending to be Tyson, and I hang up on the man. He calls back. I go, "Listen, dude, really good impression, really sounds cool, but I'm not falling for your trick." And then Jamal goes, "No, dude, that was Mike. Are you serious? You hung up on him?" And I'm like, "Am I going to die?"
Mike, he's going to hit you like he did Allen in the Hangover. So good, man. I love him,
actually,
I think
he's one of my favorites.
I think I will actually pay for a pay-per-view.
Yes.
This will be the first time maybe.
We should do a watch party.
I think so too, man. It'll be so much fun to see Mike Tyson one last time because there's not a chance that he's going to do it again. There's not a chance he's going to come back and fight somebody else, but he's going to fight Jake Paul.
Just whoop on some spoiled brat.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong about this? Do y'all think he's...
Here's the thing about Jake.
Because y'all know more about boxing. I don't know
Jake
nothing.
Paul actually has some skill. He is actually a pretty good boxer.
He's gotten one of the best trainers.
He really does.
Yeah.
But Mike Tyson good? Mike's 57.
Mike's old.
He's old.
But Mike Tyson good? No. Mike Tyson fast? No. I don't think Jake Paul will last very long with Mike Tyson. I just don't think Mike Tyson's going to throw one of those like patented uppercuts and knock him out.
I don't know what.
I would love to see it though. Just knock him off his feet like he's Joe Glass.
Glass Joe.
Glass Joe.
From Mike Tyson Punch Out. Yeah.
Or King Hippo.
There's so many great characters.
Hit him in the belly.
Ever beat Punch Out?
No,
I did.
I never did.
I did.
No, did you, Joe?
I cheated to get to the end.
No, I'm not old.
What?
I beat.
Classic video games are fun. You don't like any of the classic video games?
When you learn,
I've never played it.
Okay.
When you learned how to scoot left and right around Tyson, you could beat him.
Okay, well, I
beat him. I mean, I learned it, but I also cheated to get all the way to the end just to beat him all the time.
I just know the legend that it's like impossible to beat Mike Tyson.
I can only think of 2 games that I ever beat in my whole life. One was Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, I did beat, and then Contra.
That was a good day.
But Contra was up, down, left, right, BA, select, start, so you got 30 men. You know what I mean?
That was great.
It took me 30 men to be able to beat it. But, I mean, look, I cheated, but I did beat it.
They put it in the game. Is it cheating, really? Let's see. They put it in there for a reason. It's a cheat code.
Well, but if you're going to do it legit with just 3 men.
No way.
Yeah, maybe like some gaming.
I'm going to take advantage of anything I can.
That'll do it for us. Thank you for being here. God bless America. Y'all come back now, you hear?
The legend Neil Bortz is live every week with Atlanta